His guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Yeah, bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got Hex, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. This is Whales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Yash deep, everybody. My God. Hex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, Wendy's done told you. Dollar Club done told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Yo, what's good, homie?
What up, player? Good to be here. Watch this. Swagged up.
I see, man.
Shout out to my girl right here, Suzanne. We don't play. You see the reflection and the bling bling?
Next time you gotta get somebody warning, bro. I gotta get like the shades on and all.
I was a little afraid in Cali, man. We were too shiny out there. We had to hide. Too much bling.
I bet.
Some homeboy might pull up on us. You know what I mean? So
I like how
only when we get into the studio.
Hold on. Zoom it up a little bit. Zoom in a little bit, cause I like how they break. I like how she faded the colors.
Look,
like,
and then in the
bottom,
how
she faded the colors. The fade is the sick shit. The sick shit is the fade, because to get the fade right.
I just moved the shirt, right? See the crystal?
Gangster. Yeah.
Dude, that thing is shinier than the $40,000 necklace. Like, it doesn't even make sense, but I love it. Shout out to Suzanne.
Word.
Again, we got real talent in the community, so always give credit where credit's due. And she made this in a rush order too, so we can make it to the event. So.
Wow, how about that? That's a rush job. That's crazy, bro.
Bang bang. So shout out to everybody in the chat taking the time to be here. Today is going to be another fire stream, a lot of education, and at some point I might need to check somebody today, because I saw something this morning I didn't like. So we might have to straighten that out. But first we got to talk about that.
No, you know how that goes, man.
Hey, you know how it is.
Yeah, there's always some nonsense going on. Hold on, because I don't know if y'all can hear this in the background, but they out here just having a good old time, like doing donuts somewhere, and I can't see this shit. It's crazy, bro.
Yo, I feel bad from last time, because I know we got some serious Hexicans who have like crazy ears that are so like on tune. So I'm in the house is so big. I'm in my little like mini penthouse room, whatever. I didn't stream from the living room because people keep leaving the beep of the
the
smoke
fucking
detector.
alarm,
The fire every now and then they're like they keep saying change it. So I was like, oh Jesus. So I'm gonna stream here instead. So yeah, I mean that's
all good, man. You know how that is, man. People just, and it's kind of funny because it's like out of all the things, that's what people hear. I don't know. Like I barely heard it, and I was
Me
paying attention the
too.
whole time.
But
But
then it's funny,
and you
right?
in the room with the joint.
And I'm like, my Hexagon would have thrown me like that. So I was like, then you pay attention more, and then you wait, and
Yeah,
then about a minute in, beep, you heard it. It's like, oh, okay, it's like quick.
yeah.
And, man, I'm excited. I go into my, my
Yeah,
moon. So it's like I don't even pay. Like I said, we're just so into it.
yeah. There's no way.
Somebody
There's no way
caught
to
it. So
catch
I was
it.
like, all right.
Yeah. There's no way to catch it otherwise. No way to catch it otherwise. But yo, check it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, if you've been watching what's been going on for the past couple weeks, everything is just like unraveling, right? Like one day at a time. And now we're at a point where, I mean, the FX market is driving everything, right? And it's being driven on the back of interest rates, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you look at the landscape, like the horizon, right? What you see is just a whole lot of projectile, right? Because all these interest rates, like they just they just going sky high, and they try to act, and this is just what I see. They try to act like they're trying to kind of corral the inflation, right? That's how they try to make it look. But when you
The fun
sit,
fact that I saw, right, the rate of acceleration of interest rates actually has been one of the fastest in history.
history, yes, that's right.
It's crazy. Even like depression, it's like the way we just left out of the zero. I mean, that's how bad it was, and how much they're now finally, quote unquote, fearing the inflation. But the real joke is that they want to raise it fast so that they get to their target before. Remember how we teach people about the plumbing and the pipe?
Right.
And for the new people and old G understand that we're explaining why the bond market is the most important market, and how as the interest rate rise, imagine like an analogy where the pressure of the pipe gets stronger and stronger. It's just a matter of time when the pipe bursts. And burst means financial markets start to break out left and right. And it always starts kind of overseas, and then it comes to you meaning in the US, because that's how they designed the whole and the whole shit. Yeah. They
Yeah,
want to make sure it crash over there so they can see it coming before it comes to their backyard, right?
literally
And
how it works.
coming, so they want to raise it as fast as possible. So while you still got unemployment low, you still got none of the craziest stuff because of so much printing that was there. They still got a good excuse to keep pushing the thing up. And by the time it finally bursts, hopefully they'll be at the target that they want, the 4.5%, which means mathematically they have at least
Another 100%
75,
almost. Yeah,
75,
75%.
50 to go. So, and this is why even me, DXY shocked me. I mean, that bitch went right back into parabola wells.
Yeah,
Like, I was like, yo, this is
Yo,
serious. Because it
and-
fell out of the parabola.
yeah. You were feeling pretty good about it falling out the other day. And,
And after the
nah.
113, I got the chart. It went back in because I put the line
Right
and I'm
back
like,
in. Yeah, right back in. And it's kind of crazy because you see what everybody is doing. They like everybody's trying to deflect the pain. Like we're at that point now where now these central banks are like the US, they're the maestro, right? In terms of what is good and what is
because they
bad.
build the fucking system. They know what
Correct.
time it is. I mean, if you think
Correct.
about it, just from the currency devaluation standpoint, look at what's going on, right? Everything is basically almost shit everywhere. But what the real transfer of wealth that's happening that people don't see, again, those who are unaware, is that the European lost 35% of their wealth in a fucking year and a half. If that's not a highway robbery, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, probably
But
more.
then it started with the pound, and then God bless their soul, they lost their queen too. But it's like it's another shit show over there. But the dollar's just chilling. But us, at least in crypto, we're like, oh shit, fuck that. We want to, because that dollar scammed us so much, and now we're trying to win against him. But at every echelon, you see how like one is being scammed by another one. Remember back in the day, yeah, I used to talk about this and I loved it. The rope theory. Remember that?
Yeah.
Everybody got a rope on somebody else's neck, and then it goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to figure out where you are and which rope is under your neck. Because you got a rope under somebody else's neck, but somebody else got a rope under your neck, and then it just keeps going on like that. The same way, right? You're in a third country, you're like, oh my God, sucks. And then you might say, hey, I'm gonna go to, I don't know, Europe to upgrade. But then you'll be like, oh shit, over there versus over here. Oh, that sucks. Maybe you get an upgrade. And then when you get over here, then you got to ask yourself what states you're in. Then you got to ask yourself, do you have assets, right? Are you one of the 50% of Americans that don't own any assets? And then you just on cash and then you're being devalued because you're suffering too? Or are you one of those that de-dollarize? Make sense? So that you can protect yourself against this crazy reset that's happening right now. And it really is a rope because it's slow and it squeezes you. It's kind of like tectonic plates. They move, but they move so slow, you don't see it. But they definitely move. And they separate, and they separate. And by the time you realize, it's too late. Like we said all the time, you kind of feel it, but you never put your finger on it.
Yeah, because everything happens in like these little, well, it used to happen in these little 1-inch increments.
Yep.
Right. And unless you were really sitting there and pasting all this stuff together, it didn't look like it looks now. Now it's obvious, like
now it's so obvious they don't even care. That's why they start printing trillions. Like it's like, oh, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Let's just go at it. Let's cook the books. Let's change all the things. And because it's like a velocity, so now everything's moved fast, which means the printing is faster, but also the whatchamacallit, the tightening is faster too. Imagine it's just kind of like a coin going parabolic, right? It doubles, you barely see it. And then whoop, it goes like crazy up, like very fast. Right. But then also it corrects very fast. And then if you miss that and you're trying to trade that and then you get left behind, then it goes right back up again. So it's just like the volatility, the VIX just keeps going crazy and crazy, and it's like elastic.
Yeah, it's like 32 plus today, and that's pretty high. That's pretty high for the VIX.
Real estate guys are crying right now. They can't even believe it.
In fact, I saw a stat that just like this is the highest rate of change ever for interest rates, regularly speaking. Generally speaking, this is also the greatest rate of change in the mortgage rate market, hands down. Period. From
those niggas are on a mission
to another. Yeah,
they're gonna push this thing down.
Yeah.
And I watched the whole spiel from Powell. He said it best. It's like, the numbers doesn't look so bad yet. So basically, we're gonna keep going. Like literally, he's looking for that.
Yo, did you see? What was it? I think it's Clarita. She was talking today.
Yeah.
And what she said was essentially to the effect that we're just not going to stop until we do what we need to do. Like, that's basically what the comment was. And it's just like what you just said that Powell said. That's basically what she said. Think about
it, right? Logically, right? Quick math. It's a win-win for them. It's literally like a risk-free trade. Because if you look at what are the incentives, right? I told people, right? Always start, like I said last week, and we won big last week. We're going to talk about that too. Always look at the fundamentals, then the technicals, and then look at the math and then ratios, right? We already know that, like we said, number one, cat's out of the bag. Number two, they lost credibility before, okay? Number three, now what they're trying to do is they're trying to find a way to recover all of that. Yet also, people need to remember that they have an agenda. They want to go cashless. They want to go CBDC. Let's not forget that all comes down together. You know what I mean? The Hegelian dialectic, right? Problem, reaction, solution, right? They create the problem and then they come with you the medicine. Hey, we're going to help you and da-da-da. And it works out perfect. You know why? Because on one hand, if they succeed, they're fucking geniuses. They're going to be like Paul Volcker. Oh my God, look what we did. We stopped the inflation. Right. We didn't bow down to nobody. We stay strong. Nobody peer pressured us. And then we got this shit under control. Because think about it. The dollar can be as shitty as you get. If the ratio of the dollar versus other currency is still winning, America is still going to feel rich when they're going to go overseas, when they go anywhere. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter. Like I used to tell people the analogy of all the currency being thrown out of the airplane. Some got parachutes, some don't. They're all falling, but some fall faster than others. So in relative, you feel wealthier, although your currency is still shit, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the decent house in the shitty neighborhood, but the neighborhood is still shitty. So on one hand, they got that card that they can play if they do the, quoting my boy Ray Dalio, the beautiful deleveraging with the soft landing. Good luck with that. I mean, this is literally like trying to park a Boeing 747 on a fucking Cessna airport. You know what I mean? But hey, shout out to them if they fucking do it. That's balls. So that's on one hand.
To pull off, right?
Exactly. So on one hand, that's the goal. That's why they're going heavy right now, pushing the shit up. Because every time they push rates, it squeeze everything else. Because what people need to understand too, quick math, is the faster they raise, and they know they're raising faster than anybody else. Again, like I taught you guys last week, arbitrage kicks in. You got dollars, you got currency. All of a sudden, US dollar is paying you a yield. Again, biggest market in the world. Those little basics points, it's still billions and trillions of dollars. So when it goes up like that, all of a sudden, oh, I can put my money over there. I can earn a yield. There's literally Tatianas. That's how they are. They're so desperate for yield. They're like, oh my God. Now, if you have negative interest rate in one place, and this other place here is giving you 3 points on its way to 4 points, you're gonna be like, hell yeah, I'm moving all my money over there. And this is what's happening. This is why those impaired balances are happening. This is why the ratio, just like a shit coin, you're losing your quote unquote Bitcoin dominance. You're losing your US dominance because on one hand, this one over here is providing a higher yield. Make sense? So the euro, the yen, and the whatever, they're all floating to the dollar because they're chasing the yield. If we have a certain ratio, and then one raised, let's say, 75 basis point, but another one only raised 25 basis point because that's the only thing they can do, they still get that deficit, and that deficit creates more imbalance, which then allow people to move more money to the other side because they want to chase the yield. And by doing so, it devalues the value of the currency. It's kind of like investments are fleeing the country, which forces the local central bank to print more money to cover for the deficits, right? Just like they did in Japan, which then lowers the value of the currency even more. This is literally like what's happening to Venezuela at the worst case scenario. Make sense? So this is actually what's happening. They're doing this on purpose, and this is how they're stealing the wealth from overseas. This is why the dollar milkshake theory was a real thing when people thought it was a joke, right? Like the Wells promo on the intro. You thought it was a joke until you know what time it is. It's all fucking math. It's incentive and it's arbitrage. Money will always go where it's better treated. Remember what I said, because later on we're going to talk about ETHW and debug all the FUDs and the bullshit and the whatever. Remember that, because it's happening on the big stage, and I'm using crypto analogies to help you guys understand, because all those shit currencies, they're just like cryptos. If you just swap the name for cryptos, everything that I say will make so much sense. So to recap, raising the rates fast allows them to say, hey, our shitcoin is better than this other shitcoins because we have yield here that we can give you. Okay?
That's literally all they're doing. Too.
Yep. So by doing that, now money is fleeing the other way. And then the central bank from such country are forced to print. And by printing, their inflation rate gets worse. Therefore, the currency gets devalued. And it's very tough for them because the US already know, Powell and the boys, they know that the other ones cannot raise at the same rate as we are doing here. Because if they are, their system is going to break faster. Because everything is fragile, but the US one is a little bit more robust. If, for example, our top limit is, let's say, 4.5%, 5% before the whole shit breaks down, right? Other currency, other country, Europe, whatever, shit, that bitch might be even 2%, and then the shit falls apart. So they already know that whatever they raise by, nobody else can compete. And then do it this fast to attract all the capital to move fast. They value the other people, steal the wealth, which is what's happening right now. And then, like a proper good shitcoin, when everybody becomes the bag holder, Wells, right? Yeah. Maybe the XY go to 120 just for the heck of it.
Right, yeah.
Everybody becomes the bag holder. They're going to fucking print a nice 10 trillion on your motherfucking head. and then the currency will stay strong. Because what do? You raise the value first, you pump it good, right? Like a good pump and dump, you know, a
Right.
good millionaire. And then
Yeah.
surprise next year at some point. Oh, the market is bad. We need to help the people. Right? That's the excuse. It's for the people. Da, 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 da. And then they're gonna open the valve again for the money printing. But now it's safe to do it because the currency rise so much compared to the rest in terms of ratio, right? Purchasing power, that they can print another 20 trillion like it's a joke, and it won't even affect the ratio as much. Does that make sense?
Right.
So everything is connected. Everything I just said, I hope somebody clip this, send it somewhere because it's very, very important. Because this is how you understand how those people are being trying to play us around, thinking like we're dumb. But if you understand this, you will be able to protect yourself because you can see the flow of money. You can see what's about to happen because you understand ratio and you understand the incentives. So when you do the math, there's always a trail. And once you get the trail, you can kind of know what the next move is going to be. So in conclusion, option one is they play the hero. We save the economy. Look, we're tough guys. We're Paul Volckers. Option two, it doesn't work, meaning the soft landing doesn't work and shit actually collapsed. And if the US one collapsed, every fucking thing collapsed. And guess what? They're going to say, Wells, don't worry. We got the CBDC ready to launch.
Something like that.
We'll
Yeah.
press the button and boom. So literally, there's plan A, there's plan B. Plan A, we steal everybody's money and we're the heroes. Plan B, it doesn't work. We just press the reset button and then we start a new game.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to that effect, right? Because they gotta find a way to be able to implement all of the things that they didn't get to implement. There's only one way to do it, and it's by lying some more, right? So they gotta find a way to try to lie good enough so that they
Mhm.
can get away with whatever they gotta get away with, and it has to be nasty. It got to be somewhere people, they're not looking too closely. They're like, oh, this is crazy. This is bad. Like, people got to be disheveled,
Yeah,
basically. Right.
it's insane. And shout out to the gentleman here in the comment. British pound has reached parity with the USD first time in
Already?
history. I can
Already?
remember 2.5 to 1, literally. So it's like
There's no way.
this is how insane it is. We're talking about the British pound, not the euro. The big news was, oh, euro, da da da. And oh, by the way, euro is below one now.
Almost. Yeah.
The British pound. And I know I feel bad for the guy. I mean, the people. I mean, they just lost their queen. Now you add this on top. And it's like I used to say, people last year, like Europe, sadly, and I love my European, but they're in a bad shape over there because COVID really fucked shit up big time. And the last resort they had was financialization, purchasing power, London, all this other stuff, all these crazy derivatives. Because let's be real. I mean, listen, I'm from Africa. They don't produce any goods or services in terms of like basic needs. It's just all financial services. You understand? And if that starts to collapse,
Very few goods,
and
plenty
then
of
you understand
services.
that the population is very old and aging fast, and they don't really do a lot of babies out there. As people want to talk shit about
Uh-huh.
Elon, but he's right. You need new bodies. You need new people to go to work, productivity. So you add all of that, rapidly aging population, not enough replacement. The big thing that they used to have is financial stuff. And now everything just becomes over financialized and it's just money printing on money printing on money printing. Like crypto is their last chance. Because if they don't get that, like this is where Richard is dead on when he says in the video, people thought it's like a catchphrase. If you don't figure out crypto, you'll be left behind. Like Europeans need to seriously think about that line because that's the real deal. Like other places around the world, trust me, worst case scenario, they're good. They'll go back to do what they used to do, cultivate, take care of their family, blah, blah, blah. Like people are making fun of Russia. Hey, Russia is self-sufficient. They got the oil, they got the wheat, they got the whatever. If the shit gets devalued, they can just say, hey, we don't trade with you no more. We're just gonna go trade somewhere else. But when all you have is financialization and you don't control the colonies in Africa and whatever in India and like back in the day, and then you got an aging population and you don't have new crazy innovation coming up like Silicon Valley type of stuff, that's a hurricane of bad news all in once. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
you're gonna add
it's
silver and
stacking
more.
up.
You got the war with the Ukraine thing on the corner too. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you better figure out that crypto because that's your escape before the whole thing gets swept under the rug and make you know what I mean. And it breaks my heart, because I got a lot of friends out there. It's crazy, but you
Uh,
gotta, you know what I mean? You
yeah,
gotta
you
let.
know, it is sad because I used to have a lot of acquaintances out there at one point
Mm-hmm.
in time, and the reason I say used to is because I can't interact with people that just don't get it. And look, this was over 10 years ago. Like I just stopped interacting with Europeans because they're real slow. They just and it's no fault of their own because they believe the lies. You know what I'm saying? And this is why they're in this position
Yeah,
that they're in now. Look at Canada. Look at Australia. All
yeah.
these countries are in New Zealand, right? All these countries are in these similar positions whereby the populace is literally in a state where they're beholden to things that they don't even fully understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like just the way the money is being debased in these economies,
Yes.
right?
It's
I
also
mean, it's
because well,
crazy.
sadly, they've been, yeah, it is crazy. And sadly, they've been brainwashed
Yeah,
for such a long time. So
that's right.
like you said, that's the part where it's not fault of their own because they've
Mhm.
been misled, brainwashed for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah,
Then you add the fact that, no offense, they haven't been through something really, really tough since World War II. It's
right.
kind of like in United States when people tell you when you are like an old person now, but like, hey, the stock market only goes up and to the right, and you can't say no to that because your whole life that's what you saw. Because
Sure, brother.
remember, the average European that got money and asset is like 50 plus years old. That's what I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about the European, the youth, the whatever, the people that
Nah,
struggle,
nah, they
that
don't
know
count.
what time it is, that watch our stream, that know like crypto is the way. Like, because those are not the ones that got the assets.
Yeah,
Let's be very clear. We're talking about the older generation. Those are the ones that got the money. And all they know is the brainwash. All they know is, oh, government's going to save us. Oh, that will never
mm,
happen. That will never happen. Again,
yeah.
what did they said, right? The whole sequence, right? The good times, good
They
men
don't
with the good
matter.
times, and then make the hard time. It's
Yeah,
one of those sequence, and Europe hasn't had that in a while. So sometimes you need that little wake up to
they're
come and
about
let you
due.
know, like, yo, pay attention because this thing is about to come, and it's gonna punch you in the face, and you're not ready for that. And then you add the fact that, like the gentleman was saying, the control structure was very smart to controlling them with the old EU garbage. Think about it.
Right.
You could disagree, but you're not even making the rule.
Yeah, it
It's
don't
somebody
matter.
in Geneva. It's the
In
EU
Brussels, in
leaders.
Brussels, in
Look
Brussels.
what look how they treated Greece. Look how they treated Italy
Right.
with the crisis. Look how they treated Spain. You know what I mean? I'm not saying something was bad. What do you think? Fucking UK bounce. Fuck. Imagine
Right.
UK was still in that bitch. That thing would have been below one by now.
Well, what's funny, I think they're still paying. I think they're still paying tribute to the EU.
Yeah, but way less
Interestingly
than
enough,
before. Way less than
yeah, but
before.
they still got to run it. They still got to pay the bully on the block, and
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
you
Because
know,
it is an island, whether they like it or
yeah,
not. They gotta, you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean. But
yeah.
they
Well, they
pay
don't got to do
way less.
nothing. They don't got to do
Yeah,
nothing because look at what Italy did, right? So it's just about understanding what's going on and addressing it head on.
yeah,
All these nations, they literally just act like they can't do nothing. And the fact of the
yeah,
matter is that they can. And the majority allow whatever happens to continue to happen.
exactly.
Look at Germany, right? I mean, Germany knew this whole time it was in this position. And what did it do? Nothing. All these countries
Because
knew.
they all thought, again, those old boomers, oh, this has never happened in our lifetime. It's not going to happen again. This is one of the primary teaching or principle by Ray Dalio. You're learning for multiple generation. He studied 500 years of currency. He didn't was naive to say, "Oh, I'm just going to study what happened in my lifetime." No, because there's what's called super cycles. There's cycles that last 20 years, cycles that last 50 years, and cycles that last 100 years. Which means you're going to be blindsided because you haven't been born into one. Meaning you haven't seen the full beginning or end of the cycle. You're kind of like at the beginning or kind of at the end. So you don't know. When we talk about how like an average currency lasted about 100 to 120 years, like how would you know that if you don't do the history? That's why when I was back in school, little throwback, one of my favorite topic besides math was history because I wanted to learn. to see the behavior, why people do what they do. If there's a pattern, which is
It's a
math,
cheat sheet, man.
this
It's
is something
literally
that's
it's
power.
literally a cheat sheet. You know what I'm
It,
saying? If you don't
it
know your
really is.
history, you just slacking. You
Because
slacking.
now what you see is Italy, another perfect example. Bless her heart, the new prime minister, the lady, she's trying. She see the bullshit. She talk about how like we're not fucking peons and to be like used as a tool for financialization. She understand all the tricks. Like, what do you think they don't want you to think as a human being, as a man or female, as a member of society, member of family, member of nationality? Because the moment they divide you all like that, you just a number. You're just a peon.
Literally.
You're
Yeah.
just like a clog in the system, and you're just being used. So now they start to wake up, like, oh wow, this UE thing may not be a good idea after all. But again, it might be too late because the crash is already coming. Now you might separate, but just like how you get sick, you take the medicine, but it might hurt even more before it gets better.
Right.
But it might be a necessary, you know what I mean, evil, so to speak. But this is how bad, because the thing went on so long, and now they attach like a package. So when I was just talking about currency devaluation, 35% euro down, bro, that means the whole Europe. That means France went down 35%, Spain, Italy, Portugal. I mean, you do the
Wherever they
whole the
use the
whole, the
euro.
whole crew.
Wherever they
Shit,
use
it's
the
like somebody
euro.
saying, I'm a rub a country, bitch. Oh, I can go to this one of it and I rub everybody all at once. Psh,
Yep.
it's
That's
practical. It's
exactly
fucking practical as it gets.
that's exactly what that is. People just getting robbed in their face and they don't even know it. That's what inflation is. Right?
Let me give you a crypto example for my crypto folks here. It's like somebody just built a bridge, a crazy bridge from one network to another network. All the coins was there, and somebody just came and hacked the bridge and they changed the pair and just stole all the coins. All the different coins. It doesn't matter which one you like, right? They
Yep.
took your Hex, they took
Took
your
everything.
Ether, they
Took it
took
all.
your Hedron, they took your Mac, whatever you into, they took it all. Bye bye, all at once. That's what they did.
And that happens often, right? We see it in the bridge damn near all the time.
Yeah,
So there's no surprise that there's a common thread that we can pull on elsewhere in the
stupid,
fabric
bro.
of reality,
Stupid. And then
right?
by the time you're so down, you're in fear, you don't know anything, you have no money, you're at your most vulnerable state. And God forbid if there's no civil unrest. Again, been there, done that, seen it, because civil war can happen too. Because when people are hungry, bro, again, knock on wood, I don't wish that to happen, but I've seen what people can do. That's why I work so hard and always trying to help my fellow man, because it is not pretty. Like, just say, when those basic instincts kick in, and then people look at it like it's me or you, it's just very, very sad. I mean, you see some pockets of that even here in the United States, LA and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
but like, imagine that happening that to a whole continent. How sad would that be? You know what I mean? And Germany, same thing with London. They were like kind of the last two big pillar, because everybody kind of knew. No offense, Portugal is kind of fucked. Spain is kind of fucked. Italy is kind of fucked in terms of economy. You know what I mean? The people that were like really keeping the fort was like, you know what I mean? London. I mean,
Yeah, you
England.
know what's funny? I don't even think of an economy when I think of Portugal and Spain. Like,
Exactly. No, they
you know,
don't exist. Even though they probably, yeah.
you just don't think about that, right?
Because
Like, you
they don't
just
even weigh. They don't even weigh in the thing. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
kind of like when you look at the DXY, you don't leave. There's many
yeah,
currencies that are not represented. Like my country in Africa is definitely not represented.
yeah,
But
yeah,
we,
yeah.
we, we indirectly, because to the franc and whatever. But the point is like, it's like we're not significant enough. Make sense? So
Hmm.
it's like,
In terms of GDP.
exactly. And then those big superpower of Europe, which was primarily England, and then secondarily Germany, they're both being hit right now hard. The pound
Hmm.
hit hard. Germany indirectly because of the war. That's what people don't understand. The war is always about money. The fact that they're fucking up with the gas line, the pipeline, that's costing them billions of dollars probably every day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, if you think about how like Ukraine 2014 was about those gas lines, right? I don't know if you remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The natural gas flowing into Israel, into the Caspian Sea, I think it is. I can't remember exactly the name of that sea there.
Yeah.
or the Red Sea. I can't remember. Anyway, that's that's what that's all about, is controlling that swath of land so
Yep.
that that energy can flow that way. So it's funny because it just so happens
Always
that
about land and control. People need
yeah,
to make no mistake about it. War is always that, as it goes back to, again, history. The most primitive reason why back in the day the Alexander the Great and all this other stuff wanted to do it is just nowadays, because we're fancy. We just, it's like politics. We just find fancy words to justify. But the reason is always has been the same. Okay, it's a resource control. You know what I mean? So they can have all this stuff, so they can milk the cow. So, and Alan, you're right. Portugal is trying out crypto, but again, that doesn't change the fact that the GDP is still very low. As a matter of fact, it's almost a desperation move because they have to find a way to attract new capital to come in. Same thing, the guy from El Salvador was accepting crypto.
mhm,
Countries who are very vulnerable, if they're smart, and shout out to Portugal for that, it's one of the way they can do to attract. It's the same thing of country that have big tourism. It's a way to attract. You know what I mean? Dubai is really good at that, although they got a lot of money too. But again, attracting tourism. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
those are the important, like island in the Caribbean. They basically rely on tourism. The moment that thing goes away, they're in trouble. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of interesting because when you think about a lot of these economies and how they operate, it's like they almost have to rely on all of these tricks, right? They
Yeah,
have to,
they have to.
because if they don't, then what's the incentive?
You become
Because
irrelevant. You get
yeah,
left
you
behind.
become irrelevant. There's no real reason for people to even move into the jurisdiction, so that just really clouds the potential revenue, right? Because anytime there's another person, so when we live within a certain place, right,
Mm-hmm.
the governments expect that that household is going to contribute to some function, some dollar amount or some monetary amount to society in the form of tax, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is what it's all about, right? And it's been the same deal since forever, right? Like your land gets taken over, you got to pay the king of that piece of land. That's the way it's always been, and nothing's changed from that regard. When you think about the way the world has worked and the way it works now, there's no difference, right? It's literally the same almost. So when you sit here and you cut everything down to size, because we always like to break everything down to its really try to break it down to its most simplest level, right? When
Yeah.
you look at like how all these countries in Africa interact with France or England or Portugal or China, right, which are the prevalent people that dominate the countries within that region, and of course the U.S. is not to the greatest extent anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? How do you foresee like the interaction, right? The economic interaction between these two economies, right? Like there's a reason you got countries in Africa where outside of the main language of that land, you got Portuguese as a backup and whatever French. I think in your country, I think it's French.
Yes, because
Yeah,
we're a French
right.
colony. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We
So you
speak
see what I'm
some
saying?
French and then Arabic also because it's 50 Muslim and
Right.
50 Catholic. Yep.
Right. So you got all these things that coincide on each specific country,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all these things are going to impact how that economy is laid out and how the person that lives within that economy, has to make decisions.
Absolutely. First level of control is language, right? If they
That's it.
control what you say or how you speak and this and that, first of all, if you're going to talk shit about them, they're going to be able to understand what you're saying. And number two, they're going to make sure that they can kind of control to some degree where you can go. Make sense? I give you another example. About roughly, yeah, 30-40% of Africa speak French, right?
Hmm.
So when they were doing the colonization, they also create what you call like localized economy, localized meaning within the continent, right? That's
Right.
what our region was called the SEMAC, SEMAC, right? which is basically the Central African Economic Zone, right, of the countries on Central African area. So it was my country, right? So Central African Republic, Cameroon, Chad, part of Sudan, Big Congo, you know what I mean? And then the small one as well. So the kind of like central region, we all had a similar like currency.
Right.
And then you have another one too, similar, but instead of like of the African country of the central, it was just the West Africa. So another currency there, and that was from like, like you get like Ivory Coast, Morocco, Burkina Faso.
Right.
So again, all speaking French.
Right.
So and then the cool thing that they sell to us is like, hey, not only you speak French, you can go, French, but hey, you can speak to your neighbor, because we also have thousands of dialects. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then we have a national language. They have the kind of their own, but hey, you speak French, I speak French. Boom, we kind of in the middle. So they kind of create this kind of like localized economy too, which again, they control the currency. Again, the same thing US is doing to them is what they did to us.
That's right.
I remember I told you the famous story. I woke up, we got devalued 50% overnight. It's just what it is. It's just like market contraction.
And yo,
So doing that to an entire region.
Can we talk about that for a little bit? Because I try to explain that over and over, and I feel like unless you live through it or you grow up in that kind of environment, I feel like people just can't conceptualize it. Like,
it's insane.
Imagine waking up one day, and the day before, you can buy 2 gallons of milk. The following day, you can only buy one. That's literally what's happening to people in our kinds of countries, right?
And you had no decision whatsoever.
Nothing. You
they
can't
just
do shit
told you
about it.
The market, whatever spiel. Okay?
Whatever excuse. Literally, like they did here in the 1970s.
They tell you it's reason related to the markets or whatever it might be, but it's just arbitrage. You don't really arbitrate decision. You don't even know why. And then the crazy part is, and I was there, I couldn't understand, but now I understand overnight what it means on both sides. Overnight, that means that you have to work twice as hard, literally, for the same purchasing power, aka the same goods and services. So if you have to work X amount of hours to feed, literally, your family and yourself, working your ass off, now you have to work twice as hard just to do the same thing. We're not even talking about a better life. We're talking about the same thing. This is like This is what I call slavery 2.0, monetary slavery. And then on the other hand, if you wanted the benefactor of that, meaning the country over there, living lavishly and this and that. And again, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I just want them to understand, because it's happening now to everybody. It's kind of like what comes around goes around, right?
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, it's like you experience an insane economic boom. Your productivity just doubled.
Mm-hmm.
You used to pay let's say $1, $1 whatever, before even it's called euro.
Oh, it's just like how people were complaining about the pound being 2 to 1. Yeah. And now it no longer is.
So it's like you could have $1, right? And then you could buy, I use the example of an apple. You could buy 1 apple. Now with $1, you can get 2. Your productivity double. Your cost basis just got cut in half. All of a sudden, overnight, and you can come up with a story about how the market got efficient. We developed this X, Y, and Z. Look at how good we are. No. It has nothing to do with that. Somebody press a button, change the peg, game over. That's it. It has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with productivity. You didn't create nothing. You didn't build nothing.
Nothing changed.
And this is what a lot of the goods and services, all the fruits and whatever, it all comes from Africa. A lot of them come from there. Again, people still need to understand 70% of transport still happens via boats. It doesn't come on plane, doesn't come from none of that stuff. Those cargo ships, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's primarily where those goods come from. If you understand that, that's why I talk about financialization, because Europe doesn't really create anything related to like agriculture or stuff like that.
The US only got manufacturing back for a few years ago. After like 50 years of losing it constantly, year after year.
Yeah.
Right. So
because at some point they didn't need it. That's why they just kind of the same way Europe used us like that. US used China like that. You know what I mean? The difference, at least China, they got 1 billion people, so they grinded for 20 years to trying to catch up. It wasn't easy, but they got sweat equity in that bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But this is the thing, right? It's like you gotta understand that's what's happening. Right? Because a lot of people, especially a lot of people in our generations, they come up thinking that this is a normal economy. A lot of people don't realize that this is a fake economy. This is
It's all
all
cooked, bro.
fugazi. It's all fugazi, and one day it's
This
just
is the
not going to be
biggest
there.
thing that crypto was able to debunk.
Yeah,
If
it really
anything,
was.
crypto did good. That's why we told people, if you can pass beyond the, yeah, we're gonna make money, we're gonna be rich. Okay, that's cool. But if you can really understand why we also say it's political, and not that I like politics, but just understand
I
the
hate it,
freedom that you get
but
out of that. For the
there's no
first
choice.
time, you can become free and not
Free.
be a slave, because
Yeah.
monetary slavery is slavery 2.0. So the reason why this story is so important is now putting everything in perspective. Back to the cool analogy Wells coined years ago about the rope theory, it's the same thing. So we got our rope from the European, independence, this, that, and the third. That's cool. No, the virtual rope was still there. They control it with the economy. They give you the
Mhm.
independence, but you're not independent. They control it via the currency. So they can still tell you to do what to do because they control the currency. You don't do what they say to do, they devalue your ass, and that's it. And they'll still get what they want. And
Right.
then the cool thing is that they make it harder for you. Then you got no money. Then they let you borrow money. And this is the genius part. And you guys are gonna love this. They don't let you borrow in your own currency. Ha ha ha. Of course, they're
That's
not
the
stupid.
catch.
They let you borrow in euro, in franc at the time, in their currency. So then when they devalue half the time, your productivity lower, theirs double, and actually the impact and the weight of your loan just doubled because now you work twice as hard to pay back that loan that you were working your ass off just to say, you know what, I'm going to help my country. I'm going to take this loan. I'm going to do da 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 da. And then, we have all these natural resources. We're rich. It's going to be hard, but we're going to pay back the loan. By the time you get close to pay back the loan, some shenanigans happen, some depayment happen. So you basically never pay the loan. You're back to the hole so that you can
You
borrow
never get
money.
out of the. You never get
And
out
it
the
sounds
trap.
like a drug addict. By the time you're about to be sober, no, come back here. Come get another fix.
You
I
never
mean,
get
this
out
is
the trap,
literally what
bro.
they call, weapons of mass destructions, those derivatives or whatever. Buffett talks about it. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
watch or read the book, Economic of a Hitman. It will teach you so much. It will scare you, but at least it will
Yo, you know
enlighten.
what's crazy? By the time I heard of that book, I already kind of had the cold crack. And when I found out about that book, I was like, damn it, I wasn't crazy after all. Because for something
Mhm.
like that to exist on paper,
Yep.
right? And this
And
is
me,
an,
I just basically experienced it. And then by the time I figure out
yeah,
how this works, everything started to connect. All the dots start to
that's
connect.
right.
Everything started to make sense.
That's
So
right.
that's the rope that we got. And then the same way US got the rope on China back there by controlling the financialization, and the same way they did in the Middle East when they created petrodollar. But then here where it gets cool. Now the next generation, right? It took a while, but little by little, we started to separate, right? Then what did they do? The European went to do the euro, right? But they didn't understand that's what put them at risk because now they put all their eggs in that one basket and then they got one puppeteer. And the problem is when that thing falls, everybody gets caught because
Yeah.
now
Game
the
over.
US actually put the rope on their neck and they didn't even realize.
Mm-mm.
And then they, with all the excuse, oh, we're gonna come and we're gonna help you and military funding and all this other stuff. No, but they created the financialization like that. They put the rope. In 2008 was the stress test of that because he already told you what was going on, and now it's even worse. So and then the crazy thing is everybody's connected like that because the franc that we use is the CFI. That's what it's called. Sorry, is linked to the franc, which is then linked to the euro, which is now linked indirectly to the dollar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with one leather, dollar just pull the string, everybody falls. It's
Simple.
like domino, like fucking like Dominican style. You know what I mean? You put that
Right.
one domino and then you just watch like
The
a
rest of them
hundred
fall.
reaction because
Yeah.
everything is connected. They fucking set it up so well. By the time the last domino fall, they'll see that bitch coming from a mile away and they'll exit.
That's the messed up part, right?
That is
Because
so messed up. It's frustrating. But hey,
it's
that's why you have
it's
to exit the system. That's why you have to go crypto.
yeah, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
the catch
And by
twenty
the way,
two about
Wells,
the
make
whole
no
thing.
mistake, they're trying to put the rope on crypto.
Oh, for
That's why they
sure,
do all this
for
shenanigan,
sure.
the Gary Gensler, all these things, SEC. They trying to put the rope on that
Yo,
bitch.
it kills me because every time you see these regulatory headlines, you see everybody losing their crap, and that's
And they're
when
buying the dip
you know.
every time too. They
Yeah,
keep
but
stacking.
yeah, but this is the funny part, and I'm about to be a little foul. Every time you see these so-called regulators or whatever talk about crypto and they say something negative from a policy perspective, you can see the reaction on Twitter, and that's how you know who knows crypto and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't, they lit, and I'm just gonna say this, again, they can't do anything. Like there's nothing that they can do except talk. That's it. And put out headlines. They like in a literal realistic sense, what they can do to invoke whatever they would like
Mm-hmm.
is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That this like you gotta really sit there and think about how this stuff works. They don't understand how it works. And they let us know daily. They
Mm-hmm.
don't understand how it works, yo. Like it's kind of crazy.
Some of it is
It's
almost done on purpose. It's like they don't want you.
yeah.
Some of them just act dumb. Some of them purposely just want to confuse you and manipulate you. But
Yeah.
this is why you got to be able to like
There's
see and
a
connect the dots.
there's a site now. I wish I had it on hand. That tracks which politicians actually own crypto and how much and whatnot. And you can see that the ones that own crypto are not the ones that are being negative towards crypto policy. See, so it's kind of funky because we sit here and we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a big political chasm occur soon, just based on the money front, because a lot of these politicians aren't on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the biggest catch that a lot of people are gonna come to learn is that everybody isn't on the same page, right? You got some participants that are there playing their game, and then you got others that are there completely
Well, the
lost.
funny thing is, once you understand what we just broke down, and guys watching, please, I sincerely ask of you, when this stream is over, go back and watch it again, especially the early part that we just talked about from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, not only I've experienced it, I fully understand it now, which is why I can break it down, but I've also seen the real tragedy that comes, how people live, how people suffer, how people die, how people kill one another because they couldn't eat and they start blaming one another. They couldn't even understand. Some people just die of frustration because they couldn't even understand why things was happening to them. I mean, it's something that sometimes it frustrates me too. I just need to like disconnect and just be like, go catch that, remembering some of the stuff that I've seen, and all that could have just been avoided if only they understood. And that's why it's so important, because that rope theory works everywhere.
Hmm.
You see
How
that
you think I
even,
came up with it? Because
yeah.
just like you lived through it, right? I mean, we see these things because we seen them, right? I mean, I've seen my country literally fall off from when I was growing up to now. Like it's just complete trash, and it's a function of
Shadow of itself.
everything. Yeah, and it's a function of everything you just detailed. Literally,
Yeah.
it just happened a little differently.
When I
So
tell you that back in the day in the 1960s in my country, we were literally one of the richest country in
there
Africa.
you
We had the
go.
guy that was kind of like an emperor, but like we had everything literally. And then in 40 years, not only it didn't go forward, things went backwards. It
Backwards.
went even worse.
Look
Stuff
at
that was
Venezuela.
there 30 years ago, you can't even find them today.
That's right. And look at Venezuela. It's the same story. Now, now hear me out, right? Because a lot of people like to say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but let's just stick to the facts.
Yeah.
Facts are, how is it that all these quote unquote communist states exist when the U.S. is quote unquote anti, and I'm talking about U.S. government now, is anti-communist? How do these states exist? How are they allowed to permeate? Well, it's because somebody's backing them. Otherwise, they would not be. Because how is it that all these countries in the Middle East just got swept up like nothing?
Yeah.
But
And
yet that.
remember,
But
but
hold
then
on,
because
we got
yeah,
to
yeah.
remember. We got to remember. These communists are the actual enemy according to everything we've ever been taught. Right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too in the chat. Boom. Detroit was the
Oh
richest city.
yeah, word.
That's a
Detroit,
big fact.
yes.
That's another thing. And then the funny thing is, when you dig deeper, you actually see those countries were also, and still technically are, some of the richest in terms of
Resource
natural
rich.
resources.
Mm-hmm.
Like you won't even Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia. People know.
Yep.
I thought
Don't
that some
even know
people
that.
like, huh? What?
They
How?
don't even know that.
We
Yeah.
couldn't even believe it.
Can't even fathom it.
Yeah, but
How?
because they don't get it. Chaos makes money. Because
Mm-hmm.
when there's chaos, you're distracted. You're watching the news. Sadly, yes, people are getting killed left and right. Meanwhile, nobody's watching. It's kind of there's a highway robbery. Everybody's watching TV over there while they're stealing over here, and you're not even paying attention.
Yeah.
It happens to us too.
That's the sad part. That's the
Yeah.
sad part. Like I remember when I got to Iraq. When I got to Iraq, you can get I mean, these kids were on, they were selling you these bills, right? Because they already understood they were worth nothing. They could find them anywhere. And they would, you couldn't transact in them anymore. The only thing that was good was dollars. This was already by the time I had gotten to Iraq. And I got to Iraq, I want to say like a month, maybe a month after everything started. A month, bro. A month.
Wow.
Imagine one day everything is fucking hunky dory. 30 days later, you out here selling your currency to freaking strangers.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Exactly. How fucked
Yeah.
up does that sound? All right? Like that's exactly what occurs in these countries. And now what's happening is, and I've been talking about this for so long, people need to take into account what they can buy with a dollar, with a pound, with a euro, with whatever in terms of digital assets. Like look at all the hex you can get with a dollar versus the real world stuff you can buy with a dollar. It's not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot. And there's something to be said for that, right? Because what's happening is that you're seeing the reality of crypto being down versus this thing that is deteriorating in front of your face. And the crazy thing is it's hard for us as humans to see it as that, because we, especially when you just born and raised in one country, right? You can't fathom how this one thing that is the only thing is not worth that number on that piece of paper. It's
It's like
almost
you have an
impossible.
identity crisis.
Yeah.
And then the thing is that you get kind of like starstruck. You don't move. And then by the time you realize it's too late, because it happens so fast, it just wipes you out. By the time you realize, and when I say fast, a year is still fast. If you told people dead ass a year and a half ago, guys, you're going to lose 35% on your wealth in about a year, they would have laughed at you. You can call any European right now, any guy from London or whatever, and say, hey, this is what's going to happen to your currency in about a year and a half. They would have straight up laughed at you, not believe you one bit. Look at where we are today. And by the way, the move is done. There's nothing they can do. It's kind of like when the crash happened, all you can do is just sell at a loss. You know what I mean? It just, and who knows how low this can go. Because they're not, again, quick math, they're not done raising rates. The more raising rates they do, the more incentive it becomes to own dollar versus the rest. So which means the depegging might continue. This is where it gets crazy. And again, it's just math. It's arbitrage. Incentives are the key. Money will flow where it's treated the best. Remember, they're all fiat. They're all fake, worthless. They're not backed by nothing. And now it just comes down to who gets the bigger incentives to do what. So then when this continue and the other one can't tighten as fast as the other one because they know for a fact that they have a stronger economy than the others. So they can bring it to a level where nobody can compete. You see what I'm saying, Wells? So because nobody can compete, they're going to have the best rate for people to come put their stables, so to speak. So basically swap all their Forex. And then that imbalance is going to continue. They're going to fill in the coffers. And then when they feel like it's ready, and then unemployment start to wink, wink, go down, right? And they start to see the things start to break down. Then they'll be like, all right, guys, we made enough money. Let's pump the brake. Let's pump some trillions of dollars to devalue this whole thing. Because again, they're all falling. Some are falling faster than others. So it's a relative strength. This is the only reason why you want to escape that is by going to crypto, the good one, like a product market fit. Because not only you shelter yourself from further devaluation, like we learned in Venezuela, when people were saying they were getting their paycheck, they were spending it all the same day because they knew the next day it could be devalued by another 50%. That's how insane it was. So the best purchasing power that they had was today. right? The same way I told people your first stake should be a Quattro Cinco because Sherry will be the cheapest it will ever be. It's the same thing. And then once you get out of that currency and you're in some that's product market fit, sooner or later, even the dollar itself will find its ceiling, DXY, I mean, stop going up because if it goes more, the whole system collapse. Then it's going to start going back down. And at that point, that crypto that has product market fit will start to fly and then gain you back all of that purchasing power that you lost because we're still tiny compared to the global market. Like Richard said, we're literally the needle and they are the bubble. So it might look like, oh man, I lost 20% of my purchasing power. Da, da, da. Listen, what's done is already done. Spoiled milk is already spoiled. It's already down. What are you going to do today? Protect yourself today. Invest today. Shelter your purchasing power today. And then when the turn happens and the shit moves, at least you're going to be able to regain some of that purchasing power that you lost. So when you buy back some of those devalued currency, at least that can pay your bills, your expenses, your travel, food on your table for your kids, stuff like that. That's what we want to teach people. And with something powerful like Hex, while you're waiting for the dollar to top and reverse, you can earn some yield. Chilling.
Quite a problem.
And even if you take a year, if the yield is greater than the devaluation on the current year, at least you're breaking even. And when the pump will come, because they can't raise this thing forever, then we'll be here to catch the wave because we're already in position.
Yeah,
The same
that's the best part, isn't it? That's really the best part.
It's the amazing fucking part. This is why I said last week, Staker class, my people, Hex.com, right here, proudly represented. We always fucking win. It doesn't matter. Okay? Whatever change you go to, we win. Arbitrage, we win. Shout out to everybody last week that watched the stream. You win. Wealth, I've been getting tons of messages. It was crazy. Word. People went, boom, they watched the stream, ratio, boom, ETHW, double their stack. Somebody almost tripled their stack just because they watched the stream. Some people were scared, heard about misinformation. They went there, they minted their free money, minted their free hex. They swap it to ETHW. They catch the pump even. They needed the money to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it might be. They took it, boom, happy. They had freaking FTX already. They didn't even know that the coin was listed there.
Ain't that funny?
How funny is that?
That's funny.
Like, that's how crazy it is. And then some others, they just wanted to, hey, I'm good. I got some money. I want to buy cheap hex. Boom. They went there, they buy a million hex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But it's hex. Hex is hex.
People talking nonsense when it's just math. It's education. Everything I say is all about math and education. That's all it is. The reason why, and for those who are new watching the stream now, and then they should share everybody so we can recap what we talked about last week, the key points. Yes, there's multiple forks, but why was the reason why we primarily only talk about ETHW? It was because number fucking one, that's the only coin that Grayscale filed to actually claim. Yeah. That's a big fucking deal. Does that mean the other one don't have value? No. We got a copy there. We'll get there when the time comes. But because I know, people watch us, they get excited. They hear us, they gotta, what I mean? You tell them don't invest, they're gonna go put fresh capital. I know how people are. So I want to be very careful about the thing that I actually talk about. That I know
what's kind of funny? Everybody, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I see comments like this, right? And it's kind of funny because, every time we talked about people buying Hex, we always said, stake that shit. You know what I'm saying? We always said stake it for max 5555. So here, if nobody gave a rat's ass about what was happening in a year ago.
Yeah. And now guess what? It's a fucking savior. And I love that comment, right? Watch this. Quick math. If you're part of my favorite people, right? Staker class, and you had your dream account set up, and you did everything that I've been talking about, all the levels or whatever, your staking average would have been at least anywhere from 8 years to 12 years. And that's me being nice. Because with the dream account, the majority being Quattro Cinco, that push it way over there already. So what does that mean? That means your average interest rate compounding should have been anywhere from 30+% to some 50-some% if you were early enough, whatever. What does that mean? That means that, yeah, 95% dip, maybe it's only a 35% dip. And if you compound the fact that it happens many years in a row, because we're in year 2, or even and then the price also kind of went up a little bit, then you're actually not down, you're up. Then you add the free hedron, which is literally free money. Okay, so that you got to get that. Then you add the copy, which even right now, and I'm glad for everybody that went and then did what they did. And again, I'm just happy. 3 type of people that won since the thing we had last week. Some people just went straight up ETHW, fresh money, double their money. They cream. That's the easiest way. Wells, I got a boy that made 50K.
Nice.
50K in 2 days, bro.
Congrats to him, man.
Just ETHW, just because he watched the ratio. Oh, cream, that makes sense. He bought it 5 something, went to $13. He was just like, easy money.
You know what's crazy, man? It's like these things that we be talking about, I don't even
for free, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's just like if you're paying attention, you're gonna catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're finding yourself in awe about something like that, and you're new, that's okay. But if you've been around for a little while and you missed that, then you got to do a little bit more work. That's really all that means, because this is something that I mean, at least in my opinion, it is kind of obvious, right? Because all we're doing is trying to find an apples to apples comparison to try to see what the valuation could be for Ethereum versus the Ethereum that it just split apart from, which it really didn't split apart from. It's the same exact one.
Exactly.
Right.
And the key is we're very, very self-conscious, and we're trying to keep you as safely as possible at every given term. We're not out there following, shiny object, this and that. People talking crazy. They don't even know what they're talking about. You know what's funny? The joke that I've heard too is like people turn us, we ETHW maximalists. Like, are you stupid? No. We're share maximalists. X is over there. That's what we talked about. It's just so fucking happened that somebody like me care about people potentially putting new capital to go buy that HEX over there. So I did the math to make sure, hey, if you're going to put fresh capital to go buy the HEX.W, at least let's make sure that you buy at a good range, so that I wouldn't want you to buy it, then go buy HEX.W, but then the ETH price goes down, and then whatever gains you get on the HEX.W, you lose that because the price went down. Make sense?
Yeah.
So when you buy it at a good price range, not only you win because the ETHW went up in price, but on top of that, if you buy HEX.W and it goes up, you actually winning too. But what did we do first?
Imagine that.
Make sure, hey, is this shit's gonna be around? That's why you didn't hear me talk about any other.
That was the most important thing, right?
It was the most important thing, because people act like we're stupid, like we were born yesterday. Like, no, like what the fuck is wrong with you? So number one, right? And if people clip this and send it to the haters, number one, Grayscale has claimed that. Some of them don't even know. They're like, do you even know that? Like, Grayscale claimed this? Number two, it's on FTX. Yes, it's a fucking big deal. It's one of the biggest exchange in the world. And after that pump, the 24-hour volume is stupid. And now it's also on OKEX. It's also on, obviously, it's now going to so many other places that are like, oh my God, mainstream. So it's not going away anytime soon. Deal with it. Number three, we did the ratio math to make sure people are protected when the entry at the entry point. We already knew, Wells and I, that some people cannot do the ratio math. Duh, idiots. That's why we're here, to provide that information for fucking free to those who pay attention to come and watch. And we even explain the methodology, because we're not trying to act like we're like something special. We just told you, hey, you want to do it yourself? This is how you do it. Because that's the beauty of math. I do it, Wells do it, you do it, you get the same answer. Yeah. It's what consensus means. This is why literally the next day that shit started to pump. Well, did you see our stream? That shit had 5,000 views. It was crazy in the short amount of time. Even the haters went to watch. I'm telling you, they're not going to see it, but they went to watch it. Because there was so much fucking alpha there, they couldn't even believe it themselves. They just talking shit, but they went to just whatever. So then you get all of that. And even after all of that, what did we say? Hey, the moment you put money at there, remember, it's not financial advice. It's just mathematical advice. When you put new money in, just understand, It's called no pain, no gain, right? But we're trying to teach you asymmetrical risk reward. What that means in simple English, for every unit of risk, we're trying to give you 5 to 10 unit of reward, not 1-to-1. 1-to-1 is garbage. That's lottery bullshit. That's 50-50 flip a coin. That's called gambling. We don't do that shit here. We
Yeah, I
do,
don't get that,
yeah,
right?
we do like asymmetrical risk reward. So that's what we told you. Even after knowing the ratio and everything like that, understand you're still taking a risk if you add new capital. What you could do, literally, and I went through the demo. This is how you add the network, right? Remember, boom. This is how you
Yeah.
go. You don't need to connect to no random site. Don't get hacked. Go to the same one we already used because there's no new permission to add. You got the HEJON website, HEJON.pro. You can go mint your free HEJON. You can swap, use the Uniswap link that's there. Shout out to Alex. He already built everything. And that's
Or
what some people
something.
did. Like I said, I have three groups. I got the people that went to play ETHW, double their money. I got the people that just was just scared. They thought their wallet would get hacked. And say, no, that's garbage. That's uneducated talk. This is what you do. Go claim your free money. Go swap it. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? My brother, that's what he did. He needed to pay a bill. He just swapped the thing for free. He went to sell it, and then that's that.
Done.
And then some people, like I said, they wanted to stack up on the HEX.W because they wanted to get more T-share over there, and they believe one day it's going to reach parity and da da da. And that was the play. And then they went to invest. Even right now, the price is still 18% of a penny, chilling. He had this little dip, and then it's just back to where it was just 2 days ago. So it's like,
I mean, can we make it clear for 1 second that
yeah,
the hexes on these other chains is the same exact hex
same code, same audit,
that
same everything.
people already own? Number two, that's number one. Number two, everybody, whether they like it or not, has copies on these exact chains that we're talking about.
Yes, if they have stakes.
If they
Very,
have
very
stakes,
important.
right? Even if they had liquid, the liquid is there, right? Whatever it's worth, whatever. But that's your problem. Nobody told you not to stake it. You know what I'm saying? That's your problem.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And this is the beauty. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
From the most risk averse to the person who wants to take a little bit of risk. The cool thing is last week, everybody won. Everybody knew what they wanted and they went for it. And that is the key. That's what's called having, good information so that you can make an informative decision.
That's
and
right.
pick which side of the risk curve you want to be. And more importantly, what is your time preference? Somebody wanted a quick flick. Hey, if W might be the move. Right. Somebody needed, hey, Cream, I'm kind of tight right now. I need money. Hey, claim your free shit, bro. Free money. Nobody's going to blame you. Even if it pumps after you dump it, it's okay. You got your free money. Nobody's going to blame you for that. And then somebody's like, hey, I got long-term time preference. This if W is not going anywhere. I see the value. It might go to parity. It might continue to pump because the miners are not going away. I'm willing to invest. It's literally that simple. That's what education is about versus talking nonsense so that people don't even understand what this is about. It's crazy. And then create division. Like, what? What are we talking about?
Thanks for the super chat. And this stream is like when keeping it real goes right. Even the haters come to watch.
Hey,
yeah.
The data don't lie, right? So
yeah, don't lie, bro.
But it's funny to me because they don't come say that to my face or to our face. They talk on this other nonsense. When it's just
all
like,
right, man. It doesn't matter, bro.
What are we talking about here?
Because again, at the end of the day, number one, same exact hex code. Number two, everybody got copies over there whether they want to or not. So if you're gonna ignore a cheap hex, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
And again, remember the key, because Wells said it best, all the hex are the same because of the code and the audit and all that stuff. But remember the key. Where does hex lives on top of, right? It needs a consensus network. It needs a blockchain, right? This is the reason why we had to look at the underlying structure, the blockchain, to make sure that thing is going to be here, right? It's like saying somebody built a beautiful mansion that was kind of like a mobile home or whatever, you know what I mean? Like what that was used. And then somebody has duplicated that thing exactly the same. That's cool. But we still got to check the land. Where is this thing built? What's the location? Is this thing going to be like habited at some point, or is it just going to be in the middle of nowhere? Nobody's going to care, right?
Location is
you go to
everything, right?
right? You go to Dubai. What do you see? You see Vegas 2.0. Same hotels are there. Palazzo, Venetian, this, that, and the third. But they got tourism. They're not going anywhere. There's mad money over there. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Duplicate that shit. You
It's
go to Macau, same shit. You
set
see
up.
the duplicate over there. Why didn't they go randomly build the Vegas like casino copies of some random shit in the middle of the desert somewhere or where else or somewhere else? No, they made sure that shit was in a good location that they
Because that's
know traffic
that.
is gonna come.
Yeah, because that's where it made sense.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So we check the location to make sure, okay, this thing looks like it's not going away. It's getting adoption. And let's not forget one more thing. Those niggas got a free copy too. People keep saying, oh, the miners are unprofitable. Stop being stupid. The miner got a free copy just like you got a free copy. Go tell that to the haters too. Okay? They can use the money from the Ethereum proof of stake, pay for the electricity bill of the for the mining with that shit.
Especially after
Right?
it goes up like 3, 4, 5x, right?
Exactly. They can use a computer just like me, like this one here, do the proof of stake just by double clicking, get millions of dollars every fucking day, take that money, pay for the electricity bill for the warehouse that they already have, that's
Keep
already
moving.
working. All they gotta do is switch the network to ETHW and then literally just mine that for free. That's what people don't understand. They thought, oh, they lost their coin. No, they got a free copy just like you.
It's
So
crazy.
when haters say, "Oh, they're unprofitable," this and that, again, they don't factor all the tangibles. They don't factor everything that needs to be discussed. What is actually the cost basis? Some of those people are super profitable. Some of those people love the fact that the small miners got disconnected because
Yeah, because now they're
less
gonna get it
competition.
all.
Yeah, and then they're gonna buy it all. They're gonna buy all the dip, and guess what? They got the EIP 159 built into. They got
Yeah.
the triple having built into as well with the 90% discount. So they can pump ETHW all they fucking want. The new issuance is small. Just that alone is already an incentive.
You know what's
Because
funny? I hadn't
before they had
looked.
to worry about big inflation, right? New coin.
Yeah.
Now it's 90% off.
Damn.
Like, what are we talking about?
It's
And again,
crazy.
it's all math.
Yeah.
It's just, do you know or do you not know? It's just what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of wild when you sit here and think about the real basics. Like, come on, what are we talking about? Like, it's like getting a do over
Yes,
on
sir.
Eve, and then Hex too. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because what happens if because again, if you haven't used the network, let us inform you. The viability of it is there. Like it is
Yeah.
gonna take a 10,000x before it's expensive to use as it stands today, right? So
Exactly.
if the network does get attractive, that means you got at least 1,000x before you got to worry, because as it stands right now, we're talking about 10,000x and ETHW price increase before the GWI actually impacts
Yeah.
the ability to use this chain, and that's important to understand.
It's freaking mind blowing. And the thing
Yeah.
that's a little bit frustrating is like it's okay to say you don't know.
Oh yeah,
What's not
for sure.
okay is for you to run your mouth and say stuff that is not true. You're putting people in fear and you're actually costing them alpha. That's what I got a problem with. Because you're making, again, like we just said it best, you're creating all this imaginary horribles. Your thesis is
Yeah.
not backed by anything that makes sense. Like, and then you're acting, the worst part is you're acting like we're not being cautious here and that we're just sending people to some random places. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that to me, that doesn't even make any sense. You know what I mean? So
Nah.
shout out to Franklin. People in the chat, cool. I'm not gonna argue with idiots on Twitter about these copies. Same X. I'm just going to send them this video. Shout out to you. Hey, whatever works. Whatever works. Shout out to Anthony too. I'm only 19, but I feel like I know more than everyone in my community.
Yeah, it's
Listen,
because you
man,
do, man. It's because you do.
appreciate you,
It's how
man.
it starts, right? It's how it starts. You gotta start somewhere.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody coming to watch these streams, man. We do this
Yeah,
for you
shout out to
guys, man.
everybody watching the stream, because again, we didn't know. We learned just like everybody else is
Yeah.
learning right now, and it's only going to be a matter of time
Yep.
before you guys watching are going to be just as capable, if not more than
Yep.
us.
And you show how wise you are too, because
Yeah,
you're making an opinion and a final decision for yourself. You're not letting people tell you. You're coming to get the data, and then you do the cross reference. That's what we told you all the time, right? Don't just listen to what we say, right? Check the data, do the math yourself, see
that's
if that
right.
makes sense. Then take action. If it doesn't make sense, don't do it.
You gotta
It's
do the
simple as that.
research, man. You gotta do the research, because if you don't do the research, then you just don't know what you're doing. You just you're just pissing in the wind, really, right?
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And by the way, all this thing is so funny. Down the road, man, I can't wait. All these tweets, all this thing. We'll see how I age. It's gonna be good. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
you know
good,
how it
bro.
is, man. It's all good. You know how it is. So when you look at the landscape, you gotta really take into account the the parts that are factual, right? And
Mhm.
that's really all you can do. Now, if these proof of work chains are gonna make it their damnedest to be viable competition to the so-called proof of stake,
Yep.
then it could be that they take some market share from Binance. It could be, because what's the problem with Binance? Well, it's not safe to use. A lot of people don't use it. So why wouldn't you go use a cost-effective chain while another one comes? Or maybe they
Yep.
don't want to wait, or don't want to play with these new chains, and they really do want to wait for Pulse Chain. Either way, we win, because
Exactly.
we still got another copy coming. So.
Because this is the key. Oh, Wells, I'm so glad. Ooh, there's another thing I got. There's another. I'm not gonna say stupidity, but there's another thing that I have to debunk. Okay, and there's a fancy word for it that I love. Yes, fallacy,
Mm,
and I'm gonna use it with very very important terms that some people misuse, thinking that it's the same, but it's not. And I wish Hex Clip was here. If somebody's here, clip this. It's very important. Another mistake people use and say is like, oh, the ETHW, da 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 da. It's just like Ethereum Classic and da 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 da. Like,
oh
no,
shit!
it's not.
Yo, no, it's not.
It's not the same chain.
It's
It's not the
literally
same
ETH.
history. That's what people don't understand. The value of this chain over the rest, over Ethereum Classic, even over Binance, I would say that, but the Binance Smart Chain, is because ETHW comes with the Ethereum history. That is huge. It is technically, if you go into the technical, it is the Ethereum that you were using a fucking week ago
Yeah, literally.
with now lower fees.
Yes.
That has value.
Literally.
That history
Literally.
has immense
Repeat that,
value.
sir. Repeat
So
that.
to say that it is the same as if classic is blasphemy. It's like you don't even
Crazy.
understand what the fuck you're talking about.
That's crazy.
That's
I can't
number
believe people
one.
said that. That's wild.
You know what I mean?
I,
Number
I haven't seen
two,
none of that, so that's wild to me.
yeah. Number two, equally related to that, which people still don't give a lot of credit. But if at some point, yes, it is speculation, but if at some point the miners figured out a way to go 80 to 100% renewable and find a way to do the mining with renewable sources and fix that thing in about a year or two, it is game over. Some people to this day, whether we like it or not, they don't like proof of stake because they think it's centralized. They prefer the other one.
Yeah, that's true.
So if, and that's a if, I say if they figure out how to do all renewable, and I explained that last week by saying, where did the first adoption of ETHW came about? Very important. People don't know this. Where did it come from? United States. Where is FTX? It's here. Kraken? It's here. Even the stupid, the beef with Gary Gensler when he's talking nonsense about calling Ethereum security, whatever. But from doing my research and reading the article, one cool stat: 46% of the miners are in the US. 46%. That's a big deal. If that 46% turns renewable, and let's say the hash rate of ETHW is not that big compared to Ethereum, obviously, but let's say those people go renewable and decide to do that instead, bro, they can fix that narrative just like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with the quick.
So it's like when that thing gets fixed, now what? What else they gonna say now? Next thing you know, it's just the same cool Ethereum. Next thing you know, the environment thing is taken care of. Next thing you know, they're gonna say, like Will said, hey, we got 10,000 times less the cost of the fee. Now what? And we're a copy. So it's like, again, this is how we get to multi-chain and how we lower the fee for everybody. So proof of stake is cool. Guess what? We're cool too. Because we got renewable and we got lower fee. Oh, and by the way, over there, your fee is not that low. So if you're bored, just come play over here.
Yo, or just like that.
So it's like very, very important to let things play out, to not act as if, oh, you already know everything. Oh, this thing is not going to do X, Y, and Z. You don't know shit.
Yeah, we don't know. That's why it was important for us to talk about it, because
Exactly.
to pretend that you do is kind of crazy, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew what ETH was gonna do. Like, how much sense did it make to buy ETH back in the day? It was a major risk,
Yep. And
right?
don't get it twisted, people. The only fucking reason why even you got the opportunity to go get the potential parity on ETHW or HEX.W is because there's no automatic bot. Because nobody knew
Yeah,
this thing would pop up. This is why you have this opportunity. If there was an automatic bot like it's gonna happen on Pulse Chain, you may not even get this fucking chance. It's just gonna go
nah.
like this first. He's gonna be there first before everybody. He's gonna equalize that bitch, maybe pump it 1,000x,
I
and then
mean,
game over.
yo, if the price of Hex is, let me do a little. Let's do some math, just so people can. And again, it's not about promoting no chain. It's about promoting Hex,
Exactly.
right?
But that's why we
So
were there to begin with. We went to
correct.
get because I believe Hex is such a superior code that,
It is
again,
superior.
like what we talk about in sacred geometry and absolute math. When you do proof at a high level of math, it's words, it's English, and they say
Hmm,
it's a standalone truth. It
hold on a
stands
minute.
on its own. It doesn't need no help. Hex to me is that good. You put it on any chain, we dominate.
I'm
Because
mad.
on any chain, nobody's gonna care more about making money. It's not gonna be a meme coin because nobody's gonna get bored about making more money. You delay gratification, you protect yourself from yourself, you reward yourself from, you know what I mean, your old self to your future self. It's crazy.
Yo, how
It
you
has
like
the best pumpamental in the world.
how you like a $42.50 T-share on ETHW? How about that? It's even cheaper on ETH Fair.
It's like what are we talking again? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
And
well,
especially in the beginning, all we need to care about is like, okay, which network is viable that look like it's not gonna be rugged.
that's
Because
it.
Hex is definitely a superior code, but the superior code still need a consistent network that's viable to work.
Yeah,
That is
that's the
also a fact.
catch. That's
That
the
was the
catch.
reason why we say, hey, as much as we love all the copies, but all copies are not equal, sadly, because they do rely on the network, because all networks are not equal.
Yeah, all numbers are not made
You
the
know what
same.
I mean?
That's why
But
you
this is
got
the
ghost
beauty about
chains
being
and not
staked.
ghost chains, right?
Exactly. This is the beauty about being staked because the copy is there chilling. You just need to
Yep.
chill and wait. This is the reason why I don't know people didn't even notice, and it breaks my heart to say it, but it's a fact, and that's what I love Richard because he's a fact dude. If you guys go see Richard's bio on the Twitter, he no longer said the largest free airdrop. It's no longer there in the bio because ETHW already basically
Did it.
front run
Yeah.
because technically it is the largest free airdrop. I mean, everything copy. It's literally what Pulse Chain is gonna do.
Yep.
So the only difference is, which is cool, which I'm very excited about, is we're gonna add the Pulse token and the Pulse X token, which on ETHW Pulse is basically ETHW and Pulse X is the POW, I think POW or whatever. And I don't play with none of those. Again, I stay in my hex lane. But my point is, he removed that. Why did he remove that? Because he knows it's true.
Right. Yeah. So and the funny thing is, it doesn't even matter, right? Because
Mhm.
Post Chain's mission is to make it take as long as possible. It's going to take even longer for it to be cost prohibitive to use. And
Mhm.
that's really all a DEX is about: the freedom to
Yes,
transact and having a chain that gives you the ability to have a cost effective realm to
exactly.
transact in. You know what I
It's
mean?
pioneer. We're
That's
adding
right.
value. The same way we make shit popular back in the day. Uniswap. We're making fucking ETHW popular. That's a fact.
That's right.
Fucking dude. Richard is like Elon Musk in a sense where it's like, hey, we want to accelerate sustainable energy. We did all this shit, nobody cared, and we make shit popular. Next thing you know, everybody want to copy us. Everybody wants to be cool. Everybody wants to drive
Mhm.
electric car now. Then you see the Lucy. Then you see, oh, Beamers. It's the same shit. Now everybody talks about, oh, we need to make the fees lower. Oh, we need to care about the environment. Oh, we need to all this other stuff. They start talking about, oh, we need to it's copying the stuff that we talked about.
Yep.
Because our shit works and it matters. Real DeFi. We make real DeFi popular. That's a fact.
Yep. Because ain't nobody else doing real DeFi. Everybody else is trying to figure it out still in bankruptcy court. I mean, yo, it's crazy because none of this was not obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you've been
That
around
is
the block,
true.
none of this was not obvious. And this is why we can call it. Because it was visible.
It
Right?
was.
Like when you got all these entities. I mean, and yo, we talked about this double top happening. You know, that long
Oh my
distribution.
God. You remember the dude, you remember the Wyckoff
Yeah.
distribution pattern? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
man.
yo,
We
man.
talked about it.
We saw
Right.
it, bro. We called that bitch. Oh man, it's so funny.
So
Oh man.
yeah, we how you spent the whole year calling the top.
We got the receipt. You ever
Yeah,
just go back
man.
watch the
Yeah,
stream,
yeah,
man?
yeah.
It's
It's
awesome.
crazy. So, you know, you got to really sit here and just really take all the information that you can and break it down so that you
Mm-hmm.
can say whether you fully understand what's going on and what's not going on. Because only then can you really make a decision based on what you think is good and what's not. Like we
Yeah.
don't know what chain is going to be the best one. How can we surmise that when they're still trying to get up and running? You really just got to sit back and watch what happens. But in the meanwhile, you got to make your analysis and make your determinations to see what risk you think is worth taking. That's really
Yeah.
all it is. Because at the end of the day, we can only give you the plain basic, plain Jane info. We can't give
Mhm.
you something we don't got
Exactly.
or that doesn't exist even. You know what I mean?
That is very, very true. That is very, very true. Oh,
So
shout out to this comment here. It's awesome. Hex down under. He updates his worldview. That is true. See, that's why I love Richard. He
yeah,
updates when he changes the thing. So it's like which is really cool. And then there's this question here which I want to address real quick. It says, yeah, what is your view on the ETH, the fair? So again, you probably just kind of came in. So like what we were saying is all hex are the same no matter what, but we got to look at the consensus network where the hex is built on top of, and whether or not we believe or we see it that is going to last, that is going to stay. It's very, very important because without that, the greatest code that I believe has been created in crypto may not survive because it needs a blockchain. It needs a
yeah, it
consensus,
needs to be able to be
right?
tracked on something.
Exactly. The only reason why Wells and I have been talking about ETHW and it's been very successful, it's because we do the research, we do the math, but the research first about why we believe it's going to stay, why we believe it's going to catch tractions, and then we did the ratio to realize how undervalued it was. So the
Right.
other stuff, we're not even worried about the ratio, how undervalued it is, because I'm sure it's definitely cheap over there. But it has to pass the first test. What is the first test? Is do we believe it's going to last? And it's not just kumbaya, we believe it's going to last. No.
Kumbaya.
Where's the receipts? Where's the proof? Did Grayscale claim that? I don't think so. Because Grayscale represents a lot of investors. Dude, if your coin gets listed on Grayscale under their management, bro, you're doing good. That means at least you have a runway. They might drop you after years, but at
But he
least
was
in the
on there
beginning,
though. Yeah.
they're gonna be like, oh shit, wait a minute. We got the free ether, we're getting this other free shit. Oh yeah. And if we pump it, it goes up in valuation, we can claim a bigger fee of asset under management. You kidding me? Of course, let's do it. So that was the biggest catalyst. And the second biggest was FTX. To be listed on FTX is no joke. Ask yourself, again, you got to do that critical analysis. Why did FTX list ETHW and not ETH? You have to ask yourself these tough questions because they're an exchange, right? They can make money on both. Then why did they only do one? You got to ask yourself because they did their analysis themselves to think, hey, is this thing going to last? And the third, not as important as the first two, but equally important. And I think I've heard some other members of the community mention that, and then Maddie mentioned that too once, is the fact that something about the wallet, it's a little bit hard to access. It's not as easy as just add a network switch, which is the cool thing. Again, I'm all about onboarding, on-ramping, easy for people. 1, 2, 3. One of the cool thing about Pulse Chain, Rich talks about all the time, we talk about all the time, it's just like the Pulse Chain network. You just change your settings in MetaMask. Boom, you're on the network. No headache, no new wallet, no do this, that, da, da, da. You know what I mean? That's important. You increase the friction. Yes, maybe the super geek guy is going to figure it out. But if you make it hard for the average person to get access to, bro, I've been in sales too long. People are like, yeah, I'm all set. I'm not going to go. Da, da, da. So you have those, what we call negative externalities that are a big deal. No guarantee that it's going to be here for a while. Not supported on very big exchange or trustworthy, because the cool thing about big exchanges, if one listed, they all got to list it, because they're going to feel stupid because all the users are going to call them out. Hey, it's listed over there. Why is it not?
Why
Oh,
is it not over here?
I'm going to move my funds over there. Next thing you know, they're going to be like, oh my God, we're losing money.
Yep. And
So-
I agree with this statement from Franklin real quick. The only hex that ain't true hex is the one on Matic Polygon, because you can't stake it. Can't
Exactly.
do nothing with it.
That is a factual statement.
Yeah, I agree. Can't do nothing
Yeah.
with it.
And Lewis is right. The third, my boy. The market has chosen ETHW thus far. Exactly.
Yeah.
We were literally talking about it last week. We was.
Yeah, that's exactly what we
People
said.
say
The
whatever they
market-
want. The market
yeah.
at the end will decide.
Yeah, the market's gonna decide, so it doesn't matter. Like, opinions don't matter. This is why you gotta know the facts, because nobody's opinion it holds no weight. That's why you gotta know what is actually occurring in order to make the proper assessment. Right? That's why grayscale claiming is a big deal.
Exactly.
Big deal, because that lends credibility to that chain,
It's
whether we want it or not. It's irrelevant.
Imagine Grayscale list Hex. Oh my goodness. No, hey, we decided to have a like even if they just hold it liquid, just that alone, oh my goodness, it would be crazy. So, but it's like, because it's Grayscale. I mean, whether we like it or not, it's like, or it's like saying Fidelity were to come in and be like, hey, we want to.
It's important information. I mean,
Come on.
imagine if a Fidelity starts buying Hex.
Oh, bro, that'll be my life dream. If I can meet one of those,
Bro, people don't
bro,
understand what that means.
that's what I'm doing, stepping stone, bro. That's what I'm doing, the celebrity boxing and all this other stuff. Visibility, man.
If you think about where,
Keep punching higher.
yes, right. If you think about like how the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and all of these indices just constantly go higher. You know, the main reason for that, for over the past 10, 12 years, is because these big old retirement accounts
pumping capital into that bitch. Unlimited money.
Every 2 weeks, my man.
Easy.
Every 2 weeks.
All the deductible from your paycheck and all this other stuff.
Now,
government money. They get the people money plus inflation money.
That's right. Now, what happens when these people figure out Hex exists and they start using it for their own benefit, for their own retirements and all this and all that? Because we're going to get there one day. It's going to happen, bro, because it's a tool that people can literally use, whether people get the math behind it or not, because they're not really understanding the benefit of yield. Like, a lot of people that are quote unquote normies, like, they don't get the benefit of getting free money every day. Like, we DCA
daily. Caught up into that instant gratification.
Yes.
They forget the delayed gratification. They forget the money in your sleep. They don't understand that is the most important type of money you want to accumulate, because that's what frees you out of your monetary slavery. That's right. What allows you to still have a voice. So if, for example, somebody tell you, hey, I control you because I'm giving you a paycheck and I'm telling you not to do X, Y, and Z, or not to say X, Y, and Z, you're basically fucked, because they control you monetarily. Something that's independent of all that, the level of freedom that you get is unparalleled. And some people, they don't get that. They don't get that, because if they did, they would start working on building that. Because in the beginning, yes, that money that is like giving you that unparalleled freedom might be small. Like I told people, the story of the Dream account used to pay me just $30 a day, and I was making more than that per day. You know what I mean? Thousands more dollars. but I respected it just as much because I realized how valuable that was, and I knew how I could make it grow to a point where it then overcame. That's why you become financially free, when you start overcoming what your daily, weekly, and monthly income earnings are, and start
Right.
replacing your work. Next thing you know, you're free.
Literally.
That's really, really what this is about. But you got to start somewhere. And you
Yes.
can't start somewhere if you don't understand how valuable what you have is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know what's crazy? If people realize that just like things can all of a sudden wake up, like just how like people can wake up one day and we could just be devalued. That's exactly how it works in terms of
Yeah.
financial freedom. One day you just wake up and you're
And then
free.
boom, you're free. You
Yeah,
thought it would take you, oh, it's going to take a long time. And the next thing you know, boom, right? I thought it would take me 10 years. I got there in 3. But
that's
the
right.
thing is, like, you got to start. That's how powerful compounding interest is. It's so amazing that sometimes it's hard to fathom, because human beings are taught to think and see linear. Exponential is hard because it just grows so fast that you almost can't believe it. But you just need to understand and believe in the math. And you
Right.
know that. Remember back in the day, we said it's gonna look like video game numbers, right? We're
Oh
laughing
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
just take yourself out. Just do the math. Even if it looks like video game number, just know that it's possible because you did the math. And if your input is correct, your output will be correct. So just understand that. You might look like, oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah. Next thing you know, you wake up one day and then the crazy actually happened. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's very important. But real quick, I want to address this comment again from Apex Crypto again about this the ETH again. You say, oh, Justin's son is back in here. Like again, no offense, Justin's son is not the same weight as Grayscale. Okay, no offense, respectfully, Justin's son has a bad reputation. A lot of the project that he touched turns to shit. Look at what he did with Tron and all this other stuff. Justin's son is like the opposite of a Richard Hart. No offense. Like, he may have some money or whatever, but can't be trusted, do all kinds of shady stuff, disrespect communities. I mean, I can go on and on and on, all the stuff that he has turned
There's a lot of
into.
people like that in the so-called crypto sphere.
Yeah, and he doesn't own a big exchange like Sam Bankman-Fried. So it's just like, respectfully, you know what I mean? We didn't say that we're gonna go emergency end stake the stakes that we have over there,
Oh
but
shit.
that's enough risk. Okay, we'll take the free copy
That was
and
funny.
then we'll just wait and see. But if W, that's different.
Yeah.
Barrier of
Like
entry is
people are claiming that, you know, it's like gangs, right? Like you want to be part of the cool gang. It's not the gangs that ain't nobody claiming. It's the same thing. Like you see everybody talking about ETHW.
yeah. And they did a bad marketing too, like ETH, like it sounds like an ETF. Like this is bad. That makes me think
Yeah,
about
it
stock
is
market. Like
ETF. It's ETF. I hate it. I hate it.
ETF is bad. Those are toxic
Yeah.
assets, for the most part. But yeah, but hopefully Apex, I hope that answers your question respectfully. But again, the first most important thing is the first 3 things that we said. Grayscale's big deal. Big exchange like FTX, it's a big deal. Because remember, they're all copies. If they listed one, they could list the other one too. Why didn't they? You got to ask the contrarian question. They did this, but they don't do that. Why? And if you can't answer why, that is your problem, because people are going to go worried about because if W take care of all the business that people need, is a proof of work, is already a lower fee, works everything, the full history, blah 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 blah. I got the copy of my coin. Then why the hell would I go to the other one when I got everything I need here? You have to fill up this chain first before I go to the next one. Does that make sense? So everything you gotta apply like
Yeah.
logic, and you gotta look at where the incentives are. And onboarding does matter. The fact that it's just a MetaMask switch is very important. What do you think? Pulse chain is just going to be the same thing. Add a network, 1, 2, 3, boom. The,
Right.
the the if becomes Pulse, and then we outside. Let's go.
Instant switch. Right. And that's why it's so critical to
Mm,
understand these basic technological references, right?
yeah.
Because it's very true what you were saying moments ago, where it's just about like where the money's gonna be
Yes.
preferred, going to prefer, like where's the money gonna prefer to go? Is it gonna
Mhm.
prefer to go to some places called ETF or some places called ETHW? That's really what the question is. And it's not in a and you can't really make it in a fashion. you can't answer that question in the sense where it's like, okay, I you know I don't like this guy, so I'm not gonna go with that one. Like, no, man, that's not how it works. If people are gonna look at this like, does it work the way it's supposed to? Yes. Okay, good. I'm
Mhm.
going with that one. That's it.
Mhm.
That's really what it boils down to. Does it work how it's supposed to? And
Yep.
and when we talk about big money, that's what's going to happen.
Yep, absolutely. So you got to make sure all those things are in check. And if you're gonna use, and the funny thing is, if you're gonna use a person as a backing, I mean, shit, might as well make sure at least the person has a good reputation in the space. You know what I
Right.
mean? If
Yeah.
not, you're literally just wasting your time.
100%.
And then yeah, shout out to Jacob here. Hope everyone had a great day. Appreciate you. Hope you had a great day too.
Or we got.
What else do we have here? Let's see if we can take some question in the comment.
Yeah, if you guys got questions, throw them in there. Let's talk a little bit
Went
of
to that
macro
guy
for a little
mounts a
bit,
new
because
car. I know I have made it. I love it. Yes, Danny boy, you on your way. Hopefully you get this.
yeah, look, when this bull market takes off, man, it's gonna be bananas. It's gonna be so crazy. Look,
Can't wait.
when you sit here and you think about how Hex move, like everybody wants Hex to go up today, right? But nobody's doing anything directly to impact that, right?
Hmm.
So the whole point is that people have to remember that what we're trying to impact is a long-term situation. So in line with that, you got to really take into account how that situation arises over time. Like, look at how it took us all this time just to learn T-shares. Now,
Hmm.
that's the first item of conversation. Like, oh, yo, T-shares is cheap. You need to get them now. Even if the person doesn't know what T-shares are, like, we're talking about T-shares, B shares, whatever shares, right?
Yeah.
And that's that's what I like to call the cost for a unit of yield. Because once you got that T-share, you're earning those hex every night. Simple. Right. So
Absolutely.
once you're able to lock in those T-shares and you're able to start earning that yield, and you start realizing what you just did, if you can't do the math beforehand, right? Like, because sometimes people can't until they see it. Even if they can do the math,
Hmm.
they can't physically see it. They can't conceptualize it, and I get that. I don't disrespect that. I respect that. So that's why you got to make that. Just like your idea of making your 130 a bag 5555.
Yeah.
Great,
Dream account level one. Yeah.
because that's how you started off.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, like I've been telling people since day one, because I've been preaching this thing for years. And I said it day one that I expected to do it for years and more years to go, because once again, repetition is the mother of all skills. This is the reason why the longest people who have watched our show have been one of the wealthiest Hexicans, period, full stop, end of story. Because again, it is okay, like Well said, nobody's going to judge you or attack you for not knowing or even not be able to do the math. That's what we're here. We do the math even for you, and we show you the methodology so you can eventually do it yourself. My first job in the US was a math tutor, believe it or not. I enjoy doing this stuff. I enjoy making sure people understand why they know what they know, why this makes sense. Because again, if you don't know why something is going up, you won't know why it's going down, and both times you will lose money. You will either sell too early on a 10x pump and then it goes up 100x, or you will sell too late thinking that it has more value than it actually has, all
Yeah.
because you miscalculate what the stuff is supposed to be doing. And this is where repetition also comes in, because you come in, you see, you don't fully understand, but then you go back, you watch it again, you see it again, and then little by little, it starts to click. Like some of the people in the chat are literally like those proud students that now they're like, oh, Korean, look at this, that, the DXY. They're like, because now once it clicks,
Another
it's
ball
like
game.
you're on level 5, you're ready to go. It's just like how, oh my god, I'm learning on to ride a bicycle, it's so rough. Da, da,
Yeah,
da.
now we're not talking
Yeah.
Chinese. Now
Yeah, now
they're
you're
on
like, yo,
par.
remove
They
the training
understand
wheels.
what's
Let's
going on.
go.
Yeah. I mean, and it takes time.
Yep.
That's why answering questions, asking questions is important. because
Yeah,
that's how
and
you
we're not
go.
going anywhere. We got
Yeah.
15 years.
Ain't got nothing else to do.
That's the beauty of staking.
Yeah,
We don't
man.
have to look at the screen. We come here, chill out, talk, answer
Yo,
questions,
every
bounce ideas.
time, every time I think back to my first days in Hex, I remember what I used to think, and I used to think like I want to hold this as long as I possibly can because I want to be the
Mhm.
Bitcoin billionaire that I'm not because I was supposed to be. You see, but since I was a dumbass at the time, there's no way in hell it was gonna happen. So now, right? What's the mission? Accumulation, never ending,
Mhm.
right? No matter what, however you got to get your freaking trustless yield, you get it, and
Exactly.
that's the name of the game, right?
Yeah. And that's what we tell people too. Never be afraid. Come here, ask questions, be respectful. We'll always answer. And then the cool thing is, I remember people tell me, Cream, I had to watch the thing 5 times, but then I got it, and I say, congratulations, good job. And then when they became successful and when they made all the money, and then they came out and said, oh, you helped me did this, I said, no, 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 you did it yourself, which is
That's
good.
right.
I'm proud
We
of
just
you. Keep
pointing
up
people.
the good work.
We're literally just we're like compasses.
Mhm.
We just point people in the right direction. That's it.
Oh man, this is the coolest comment of the night. Kongen is one of the reason I'm a Hexican. Ex
Ex
American. Yeah,
American.
shout out to you, player.
Ex
Appreciate you.
American. That's funny.
So, but yeah, listen, and this is one of the reason why we do this because now, right, teaching people how to fish and just giving the fish. Next thing you know, they're also looking out for you. They're looking out for the community. And now each one teach one. And then that's how we proliferate the good word, the good education, not the misinformation. Because I get it. Some people are in fear. And sometimes when you're in fear, paranoia kicks in. You start to guess. You start to invent shit. You start to like say all this crazy stuff. Nobody, because
Invention.
you're also a little scary. Nobody's here to check you. So it's like
Yeah.
you're saying all these wild things. I'm like,
Yo,
yo,
let's talk
what
about
is this?
this. Let's talk about that for a second, because it's just like operating in the markets and you trading, right? Just regular
Mm,
markets, just day trading or whatever. You just
yeah.
out there clicking away, thinking you making sense when you click it, and you got no clue whatsoever what you're doing. You're just clicking by yourself. You don't have any basis upon which you just made that action. None. You're just doing it, and people think that that's what trading is.
Yeah.
No,
And then,
far
and
from
then if you're not careful, what you end up is the blind leading the blind. And then it's
that's
just
right.
like you can even start with not even like wanting to, but then if you're not careful, it's a very slippery slope because
Very.
now you get cornered. Now you start to make shit up. Now you start to assume. Now you start to project. Now you start to like, the imaginary horribles, all this other stuff. It's like, bro, let's just stick to the facts. You can stick to the facts, explain the risk without having to like say all this extra stuff that is not non-founded. That's the thing that I have a problem with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
it's just
you're
all
no
opinion.
longer in the facts world, you're in the opinion world.
Yeah, it's
It
all opinion.
becomes the I feel like versus I know, or here's the facts, here's the data, here's what we know. Like some people that were talking crap, again, they didn't know about grayscale. They didn't know it
Nah,
was
they
listed on
didn't.
FTX. They didn't know all this because those are key components. You think because think about it, do you think FTX would have just listed this thing randomly if Grayscale wasn't saying, "Hey, I'm going to claim that"? Come
Not
on.
at all.
So
Not
to
at
me,
all.
it's common sense. You know what I mean? Now we'll find more as we go, but those are important things. And then understanding just basic math, basic arbitration. If something, especially a superior code like Hex, is on a network that's going to last for a long time, you best believe it might take a while, but you best believe that thing is going to trend to parity because it is just what math does. The same way we were literally talking about at the beginning of the show about how the currencies are flying around and they go into the dollar because it provides the best yield because that's where it's best used. So all the currency around the world are flowing to the dollar, which is why creating all these imbalances ratio because they're all moving in that direction. And that's what's going to happen on the pulse chain too. This is why the AMM bot actually exists in a good way because it just shortened the time. We went up 5,000% in the first day. Right now, it's still looking at again 18% of a cent. Okay.
Too far.
And it's only about what 10x away, 15x, excuse me, 15x from parity. I mean, it took us what?
A day for that?
I mean, even if you just go back old school, right? When was the first time we got to 3 cents? That still took us like
Took a
almost 2
while.
years.
Took a while.
Took a while.
For a
Again, we're
long
talking about
time.
delayed gratification. If
It took a
it
long
took you
time.
almost 2 years to get to 3 cents, in
Yeah.
one day you're up 5,000%. In a week you're trending a little bit up, but like you're about the same ish, whatever. You went up maybe another 1,000% from the bottom, whatever. So you're like we're like 8,000%. Actually, you know what? Let me not guess. Let me do a measure move right now, just for fun. I had the chart, the thing open, just for
Close it
fun.
up.
Boom, from bottom to top. Yeah, 8,400%. So we 8,400% from the bottom.
Crushing
Okay.
it.
It's
Crushing
like,
it. Woo!
yeah, crushing it. And in about a week. But
Mm.
I'm like, we only 15x from parity, and the thing took 2 years. I can care less if it takes me
Yeah.
until the end of the year. I can
Yeah.
care
I
less
could
if it
care
happens in
less.
2023.
Yo,
The point
imagine
is,
2
the
equivalent copies, same exact value.
it's like, why would you
What?
not see that as valuable, especially
What?
if in the bouncer probability, knowing what we know, this
Like
chain is
what?
not going anywhere. And by the way, what if ETHW really start to pump? That is speculation. I told you guys where the ratio was. We went above the ratio, and we were right. We did the retest, which was fun. Literally everything that I said happened. It's so funny. It did it did the pump right out of the 6. Then he cooled. Oh, hold on, let me pull out FTX real quick so I can literally show you guys this. And then, well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna share the screen just
Oh yeah,
briefly,
go ahead, brother.
so I won't really be able to see this. Oh, that thing is even up right now. Huh, it's
So I'm
funny.
gonna throw a link in the chat. Somebody asked if there was a link where they can read up on the forks. I'm gonna throw one. I'm gonna throw both of them in the chat so people can
Nice.
read them.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
This is important to have the right, the information from the source. Because if the
absolutely.
source lies to you, well, ain't shit anybody can do for you. Because that's just, this is what we're operating off of, the source. So,
Exactly. You need
and,
that, because without that, you get in bigger trouble than what you
yeah,
already are.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You
So
don't want that. You
don't want
definitely.
that. Yeah. So you definitely always get your data from the source. That's what we do. We just getting the data from the source and passing it on to you guys. We're not doing anything fancy. We're not making anything up. We're just going from the source, man.
The most important thing, like one of the first rule you learn in mathematics when you're solving a problem, they said when you get your raw data, right? Like,
Yeah,
what do we know about the problem before we
that's
even
right.
try to solve it?
What
If
is
that's
the problem?
wrong, it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna get the wrong answer,
Yeah,
because
what
that's
is
what
the
I
problem?
understand. Yeah,
You got to figure out what the problem is first.
yep. Because you could be mathematically correct and still get the wrong answer because you
That's
didn't
right.
know what to do. Imagine you're doing an addition when the problem was supposed to be a multiplication.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
because somebody didn't tell you exactly what was the premises. You know what I mean? The hypothesis. So, and
Right.
that's why we
Or you
want
didn't
people.
read good enough, or
Yeah,
something simple, right? Like
and then
something
you try to
simple.
create your own assumptions, which were not factual, and then next thing you know, your whole thesis crumble because you don't have anything to really back up what you were supposed to do. Make
Yes.
sense?
Yes.
So right here, oh, I got it perfect. So now,
This is funny because I actually, and I'm gonna read the comment. The only thing that sucks about the ETHW parity is your league ranking stays the same. If you don't help achieve parity, suck on that FOMO. then
well,
now,
hey, funny enough, yes, but no. Again, I don't want to cause no formal to whatever. Luis, that's only assuming if you did not take advantage of the parity.
that's
I
right.
can tell you for a fact.
I did.
I'm, I did
Shit.
too, but more and many other
I ain't
people too.
afraid.
Hey, I told people from the very beginning, well in training, that means one day we're gonna get there.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
right,
remember that day when God will double the candle, and I was like, man, if I
man.
was just there one day earlier.
That was crazy. Like I
And then
wasn't
now just to
around,
go
but
back
I
in
seen
time,
that was a 77X or
because
something
well, I'm
crazy.
being real with you. The AMM bot, that nigga's gonna be so fast on fucking
Yo,
on pulse chain.
the fact
That's a
that
dream. You're not gonna scoop nothing out of it.
the fact that and that's was like, yo,
But on ETHW, bro,
how many times have we explained what's gonna happen when Pulse Chain happens. So what's gonna happen when Pulse Chain happens? When Pulse Chain goes live, all these liquidity providers are gonna want to pull their liquidity because all the hex that is sitting in those pools are gonna get bought up as soon as that chain goes live, and
Yep.
those
All the
LP providers are not gonna have the ability to pull that liquidity then, so they have to pull it before. So that means the amount of hex that's gonna be on chain in liquidity pools when that chain goes live is not gonna be the amount that you think is gonna be. And this is
exactly.
how parity is going to happen so quickly.
Not only number one, the bot is gonna harvest all of that. So it's gonna create parity, but nobody really gets to win. It will be the scenario Luis talked about. It will almost be the same ranking because which technically is basically saying, all right, guys, everybody get the same gains all at once, and then it's fair for everybody. That's fine
Right.
too. You know what I
Right.
mean? Nobody gets to benefit. But like ETHW is different. There's no bots. We are the bots. Those who believe, who went to scoop that, if you reach parity and they got whatever extra thousands or millions of hex, and they stake that and they get whatever t-shirt that they get, that's get to add to their stack. And they will move in ranking compared to somebody that did nothing, that just got his copy, which is still good. I'm not blaming that person, but that is the difference.
It is what it is, though.
Another cool thing that the pulse chain is going to trigger is that, let's say there's a 24 to 48 hour warning, okay, before this happened. Now, guess what? If you're a liquidity provider and you're smart, you're going to remove that liquidity, right? Right, Wells?
Yeah.
And what does that going to do? That's going to make the thing very low, which means easy to pump also.
Mm-hmm.
Or dump, but hey, low liquidity. Last time I see low liquidity near the bottom, we know what time it is. We know what direction this goes. So it's like
The
so
trampoline
many
effect,
cool
sir.
things that can happen. And then let's just pretend, just to really harm this to bed. Let's say if W takes a full year before it match parity. Let's be crazy, right? Or even 2 or less than 2, whatever, right? And always trail maybe 10x behind. Okay. What do you think happened when regular hex on the other two chains started to go 13 cents?
I'm still
15 cents,
fucking trying to wrap
30
my head
cents?
around the fact that there's 3 hex. You
That's what
know,
I'm saying.
like we're here trying to explain to people not so much that these other chains are the next wave because they don't actually matter. It's just the simple fact that they exist, and now we have to know how to deal with them, interact with them because they exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right?
That's it.
And at the end of the day, this is all about hex,
Exactly.
right? So I just wanna highlight that because I feel like I just don't. I mean, we're giving out all this useful information. We're pulling people in the right directions. We want people to find out what they want to know so that they can make the appropriate decision for them. Because we don't know what's gonna happen. We like, for all we know, Grayscale not claiming ETF or the ETH fair one doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good sign, good enough for me to know that I needed to pick up that ETHW when it was $5 and not when it was 10 or 7
Mm-hmm.
or 8 or whatever the case is, right?
And this is why we said there's a risk profile earlier for those who
Yeah.
are just joining, right? To recap, it's very important. Repetition. There is 3 types of people that won last week. There's the people who are like very, very risk averse. Okay, I'm gonna go from least risky to whatever. Very,
Yo,
very
and
risk
I'm
averse.
pretty risk averse too. Like
Exactly, and
it
that's
took me a
fine
couple days to even like get
because
on it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
because we designed this so well, and the strategy that I told my people, my favorite people, the staker class represent right here. We win everywhere. It doesn't matter. We win. And the most risk averse thing was me to simply tell them, "Hey, you already won. Your copy is there. Do not listen to the nonsense.
This is
This
a
is how
great
you go
question, by the
claim
way,
your
Franklin.
free
Thank you
money."
for asking it. Thank you for asking. This is a great question because
Yeah, I will address that in a second. So,
I'm gonna love talking about this one.
nice. So the level 1 was you already won. Your copy is already there. Don't listen to the nonsense. This is how you go safely claim your coin. Dump it for all I care. It's free money. Okay. I've had some friends, they needed the money. That's what they did. Shout out to them. They did what was best for them at the time. Period. Cost you no money, no whatever whatsoever. Boom, done. We just wanted to stop the FUD, all this, now it's not safe. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's just adding a network, 1, 2, 3, connect. If you're lucky, you're in the US, yes, you got access to what's his name? FTX or Kraken. That's your exit because you swap to ETHW, you move to the exchange, you sell it to dollar, you're done. Easy peasy. Okay. That's step one. Step two was a little bit risk, but if you watch the stream and understand the power ratio, and I was talking about ratios and with Wells, you literally 2x your money in fucking 2 days. I have received people have done that. One guy almost 3x.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to go all the way to cream, HEX.W is a little too volatile right now. Da, 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 da. I said, no worry, bud. It's all good. Just do what you think is right. Yeah, I'm gonna play with the HEX.W because I enjoy the thesis. It makes sense. I did the math. This shit, because people don't know, this shit was trading actually before at hundreds of dollars in the beginning because they had like a fake coin before the fork.
Oh yeah,
then,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, FTX was one of the last one to list it. They were very smart. They waited. This thing went down, 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 down. By the time it got listed to FTX, the all-time high was like $20-some. I have it right here. Matter of fact,
funny.
well, let me share the screen real quick.
Because like I told you, I was leaving it alone. I like to wait for these things
So,
to shake out before I actually like pay attention.
Exactly. So I was leaving it alone no matter what because my thing was just before even touching it. What did I say? Rule number fucking 1. Is this thing going to stay? I don't care how much it pumps or don't pump.
Right.
Okay? Scam coin can pump for all we know. I had to figure out whether it's going to stay or not.
Correct.
Okay? Can you share my screen, please?
That was really the most important thing.
Perfect.
Me know when. Good to go?
Right now, good to go. Yeah. By the time it got listed on freaking FTX, the high was right here, and he went as high as $30. Even though I know for a fact, you can see that on Nomics and some other places, some highs were like hundreds of dollars. And then he did this, which is fine. But then even this, it's a massive, massive dump. And then right around here, this is when we start to hear that, Grayscale is going to do blah, 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 blah. And now everything started to make sense. And then I did the math. I started to buy here, and I bought some over here too. And then this fucking thing just basically exploded. And we were literally talking about it over here.
Yeah, right
there. And I said, hey, right. The number is right around $7.90. Remember? Yeah. About 8, which was right around that pocket right here. Yeah. Right? And what did he do? It came in, it popped, it literally touched it the first day. It's like people had to target there. Boom. And then I told people, hey, the next day, if you miss the move, just relax. The retrace is gonna come, and then it's gonna go. And what happened? People wait. My other friend catch the retrace. Look at this volume candle. Stupid.
Hold on, let me remove the comment.
Oh, so this boom. Yeah, massive volume candle came in. Boom, boom, boom. And then it did a nice major move all the way to here. And even right now, it's kind of like my friend made his money, and then life is good. You get what I'm saying? So, and then the people who want to take a little bit more risk, but also have a longer time preference, very important. Again, what is asymmetrical risk reward? For any unit of risk, the unit of reward. Somebody can say, the coin is very volatile. But what if it actually meets parity? Now what? You get to buy something and then 10x your hex. Not your dollars, your hex. And then if you keep that hex and then you turn it into a money printer, you get to 10x the productivity that you can generate as a yield. That is fucking insane. I mean, if you're making 30% yield now, you can make 300% yield. If you were like 5x away for retirement, that thing can retire. Now, is it guaranteed? No. Every risk has a reward. But is it something worth the risk? Knowing this trajectory, knowing what ETHW is doing right now, and it's just basically what, a week old? If I put on the daily chart, just briefly go back. I mean, what are we talking about? This is a daily chart.
Yeah, about 8 days, maybe.
Pattern. Look at this. This thing is just chilling. It's just consolidating. It might do another one of those. You know what I mean? No guarantee, but again, nobody knows.
It's chilling. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And this is the thing, right? The market is gonna always decide right?
Exactly.
And that's what it's about.
Exactly.
So let's get to Franklin's question so we can
Yep.
wrap up because it's already been 2 hours and all that. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. It's been a pretty good stream.
Pretty good.
Um,
Okay.
can we speak? And thank you for the $5, brother. Can we speak about HEX.W when people state the value of EHEX is being diluted? Now, this is an interesting comment coming from the community when you got all these coins being made left and right. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see nobody buying EHEX. Like, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, we've been watching the price go sideways for since June, 3 months plus and a half.
Okay.
So if you ask me,
Yeah. Wells, you go
this
first.
this little thing, this thing of imaginary horribles is already in existence, right? Because we're already seeing people diverting their funds elsewhere away from Hex. So how is it that sparking up interest in Hex again on another chain is a bad thing? I don't get that. Because it's gonna give people like, okay, I got all these t-shirts on this one chain for super cheap. Now let me see, let me go back to adding on to my t-shirts on my other chain because we know that POS is the one that's gonna be forked. I highly doubt that it's gonna be ETHW or ETHFair. Doesn't make sense to me.
Oh yeah, we already know that. That's common
Right.
sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, here's the way I look at it, and this is a great question. I'm gonna go in depth with that. So there's two answers to that. Okay, there's kind of like the philosophical question, and then there's the mathematical fact. Okay, the philosophical question is that people feel some type of way thinking that, oh, if W, new shiny object, this, that, and the third, but they don't or hex W, but they don't understand that it's attracting a new demographic. There's people on the ETHW chain that have never heard of Hex. You understand? That if it wasn't there, they wouldn't even have known. It's literally free market. It's going to new places. It's kind of why we punch in different places. This is how like I try to talk to celebrity, talk to people for all walks. Like these people that don't even know crypto. Like we think like we so we everywhere. Dude, we're still very, very, very tiny. And sometimes you need to enter new spaces. That doesn't mean that you're being diluted. You know what I mean? It's like people say, oh, there's too many gas stations at this one location. Oh, we're going to dilute our customer. No, it's called network effect. It builds on itself. It's the same thing Richard debunked long time ago when the Bitcoin maxi were thinking like, oh, Ethereum, all this, all the altcoins are going to dilute our Bitcoin. No, history has proved it actually multiplied their gains because people were buying it in order to get to the other one, to be able to network, to be able to transfer, to have that fluidity. Because now somebody that's a hardcore proof of stake, somebody that's a hardcore a proof of work, they don't have to argue about Hex anymore. Oh, you're a proof of stake guy? Here's the Hex you want to buy. Oh, you're a diehard proof of work? This is the Hex you want to buy. Wherever you go, there's a Hex you can buy because we everywhere. That's what it means. That's why also franchise existed. This is the fallacy people have. It's in their head. It is not true. It's like saying more publicity is bad. It's like, no, it makes no sense. You know what I mean? That's something that needs to be debunked. It is in their head. It is absolutely not true. And time again. When we number one in leaderboards, that's a big deal. Do you understand how many times we've been gatekept? We couldn't be number one in so many leadership. Now over there, we're cooking like it's chilling. They can't even lie about it. We're on the block explorer because Hex is on chain. That's why it is superior code. You can't hide that. It's pure. It's too good. It works too well. People want it. We're in the bear market. All those niggas are broke. We're the only one that got money. That's why we're there. So that's number one. And then number two, the mathematical fact. It is not a dilution. You're pumping your same bag on the other side. You're not diluting, actually. Okay? If you were to help it go to parity, your value just double. 3 cents Hex becomes 6 cents Hex. What the hell are you talking about? To be diluted, you will have to be like Hex needs to be like $1.50 or less, and then the other one needs to be also, I'm sorry, a
Did we
cent
talk
50.
about this last time? I think we touched on
We
digital
kind of did, but this is
valuation,
an important
right?
question, and I love Franklin. I want the people watching to understand that because it is important. This is how people can tell you fallacies, and sometimes it's not their fault because they're in fear and they start make up shit, but they don't sit down and actually think about what they say. Like it doesn't make any mathematical sense. You reach parity, that means you have equal value, not just in coins, but in dollar. That means 3 cents hex becomes 6 cents hex. That's what it means. That means also if we get parity with hex on pulse chain, and we stay at 3 cents, that means you have 9 cents hex because you have it 3 places. That's how powerful this actually is. People need to understand that. Clip this shit because this is very, very important. So they can stop talking that nonsense instead of understanding that this is the value that can change the game. And we can satisfy all kinds of customer. Again, you're a proof of stake guy, here's the hex you buy. You're a proof of work guy, here's the hex you buy. If you guys remember back in the day, Richard even joked about it would be nice if you can put hex on freaking Charles Hoskinson chain just so we can sit on it over there and dominate.
Right.
It's so true because of that. You know what I mean? Like it breaks my heart to see stuff when people they don't understand, they don't ask questions, they just say shit. And then sadly, because community listen and people just like take this for granted, they don't question it. And then now they miss on bags, bro. It doesn't make any sense. And then it's not doing something that's in the best interest of them or the system. And then the worst part is it dilute the hard work than some of the other people are doing to provide security, safety, and let's not forget alpha. Who the fuck is providing alpha right now in the bear market? Who the fuck helped you 2-3x your money? If you watched the stream literally last week, you would have doubled your fucking money. Who else is doing that for free? I want to sit here and talk this nonsense and do this other things. And well, I'm sorry to do this, but it's something I want to address because you said the stream is about to end. So there's a tweet that I saw, and I love him to death. And I know sometimes we'd like to joke, but this thing was just like unnecessary. And I just hope that it just stops. Like we need to grow up. You know what I mean? Like, and because those people, myself included, like, this is not something that we want to see from our own community members. That just doesn't look good. You know what I mean? This is something that I would not even talk to the person on the side, but since it's already kind of like in the internet, so it's like at this point we just need to address it there. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, I want to see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I want to see if people can at least, first of all, just see what is even wrong with the thing to begin with. Like it looks like a joke, but not. No, we doing hard work over here. This ain't no joke. We're taking this shit very, very seriously. So let me see here. Pull it up. Let's see. And I hope they watch the stream. If not, somebody can clip this, send it to them, so they can see it for themselves as well. So where is it? Because that was like totally uncalled for nonsense.
Man, you know how that goes, man. People are always gonna be talking to talk.
I got it loaded over here. So
it's all
again,
good.
I love this community member to death, but just like a family, every now and then, like we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. You know what I mean? And I want to provide context so people can understand. So is there screen share?
Nah, I can share it now.
Yeah, you can share it now.
Knock yourself out, bro.
All right. So now, this is our community member, Gary, and this is a tweet that Gary has posted. Okay, and I'm going to explain everything in context here. And the thing that bothers me, and he said that I didn't see it right away because it was kind of obviously wasn't my direct tweet, and then I see this, right, and that's what bothers me, and it bothers me even more that it gets this many like when the original one gets less like, and so many things gets blown out of context, and then it doesn't even make any sense, and this is why I want to provide context, because maybe people say, oh, Kareem, is this a joke and this and that? No, it's not a joke. People are working very, very hard to push the word out, spend their money, their time, travel to make sure Hex.com is known across the world as wide and as far as possible. And we got to deal with nonsense garbage like this. Like, how the hell are we in the same stratosphere as what, you know, I know the whole drama and all this other stuff. How the hell are we in the same drama stratosphere as this? And this is the reply that we get. That's number one. How does that make any sense? Number two, Gary may have said it in a meetup, but this is the link right here. This is for the boxing fight that we're doing. It is not a Hex meetup. It is for the fight, which I clearly, specifically talked about last week. And I specifically said, for those who want to help, here's the address. Whether you help or you don't help, I still love you the same. We're going to still figure out a way to make it work with the budget that we have. And that's what this was. And this is why Gary, to the kindness of his heart, posted the link here for those who didn't, because we created a new link. Because this week alone, we had to deal with some crazy drama with celebrity boxing. We had to almost basically sue them. This is why we had to change the venue, because they're trying to play games with us. Finesse trying to mess MK's money, mess us as the sponsor, because they realized that they could potentially use us as a cash cow. And I'm like, nah, we're not letting that fly. And now, funny enough, they're about to get this shit together. But I digress. This is the reason why we had to change the venue, to kind of show them like, hey, you fuck with us, we're going to sue you. And then we got connections. We got the Mayweather, got whatever. We can do this in Vegas. We don't need you. We don't need to go all the way to Atlantic City. And now, you know, they're backtracking and they're most likely going to make it work. But the point of the matter is, Gary, from the kindness of his heart, doing this, posting the link. For people who don't know, Gary was one of the biggest instigators when Richard came to visit me and many Hexicans out in Miami. One of the big guys behind the scene with dollar cost to make sure we get all of those big interviews, okay, that help pump the price of everybody's fucking bag. That was Gary behind the scene doing a lot of the work, because he has the connection with all the big real estate guy. Okay, that's a big fucking deal. That's the guy that's tweeting right here. Dollar cost, which I just made, Miguel, my boy, which helps me with doing the fundraising, which, by the way, we're still at $35,000. We haven't had new fundings or whatever. We're doing a lot of the stuff out of our own pocket. We travel to California. We pay our own hotel. We do all this other stuff. We went on the No Jumper podcast. Name a Hexican that was on the No Jumper podcast besides us. And by the way, it's exclusive content. They haven't released it yet because they're doing all kinds of cuts, but they're going to release it by the end of the month and the first week of October, because we're also going to go back on Fresh and Fit with promoting the fights. Crazy. They have 4.5 million fucking subscribers. These are the people who are working to push Hex.com when some people are just sitting at home, basically doing nothing, complaining, bitching, talking about how the bear market is this, that. Richard's calling people out there being crybabies and complaining about this and that, instead of finding some way to be productive. Okay? That's what bothers me. I do this shit for free. We are retired. We don't need to do this. And then we got to go on Twitter and see garbage like this. That doesn't make sense. And it hurts because it comes from a community member that we love and care about. Where all we did was we said, if you want to meet up, this is where you can meet up. Contact us. We're going to be here to help. We didn't ask for no money or this or that. We just say, if this is what you do. Okay? And then let me go to the next one. Suzanne. What did she do to deserve some shitty stuff like that? People who talk shit, that they were not even there. They were not even at the conference. People who were at the fashion show can attest the quality of the design. She quit her previous job. She's a diehard Hexican. She turned this into a full-time job. I am fucking wearing her stuff right now on this stream because I like it so much. Okay? She's also in this ad. And last but not least, MK is also at here. Okay? Now, how do you think somebody's going to feel like when this is the kind of response that we're getting, when he's also working his ass off, make sure to promote Hex everywhere he goes. Make sure he wears the outfit. You see on the No Jumper podcast, and you're going to see again the picture, the way he sits down, the way he does everything. Always push the logo. We're dealing with some nonsense. We're trying to make shit happen here with the limited amount of fun that we have. We don't want to make people feel guilty because it is the bear market after all. We say, hey, help us if you can. If you can't, that's okay. We still love you. Well, didn't I say that just last week?
Yeah.
Didn't I say that? And then I got to wake up this morning and see this bullshit. And this is what we're being compared to. Like, now, like this nonsense got to stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody can click this, send it to him. I don't care. But like, no, this got to stop. Like, if you're not going to help us, if you're not going to spread the word, like just chill out and don't complain. Like, I get it. It's the bear market. People are edgy. They want to see pulse chain, this and that. What do we say all the time? It's not about fucking timing the market. It's time in the market. Just chill. Okay? You're bored, go find a hobby. Do something. But don't come and then put in this garbage, because now new people, they see that, right? This is bandwagon. That's all it is. Maybe somebody think, oh, this is a joke. But now imagine somebody that really wanted to DM, somebody that really wanted to be part, maybe wanted to help out for the cause, right? Maybe wanted to come to the event, or just maybe drop, I don't know, some money, whatever, to help it. Now they see this. Now this is what we're being associated to. Right? Talking about 300 fucking 50K. Well, all we needed to fucking raise is 100. And now we're even trying to work a way to do it with less, because we don't even have it. Okay? The wallet is still fucking here. Let me see if I can pull it up. To scan. Right here for everybody to see, so they can go and talk shit again, right? This is the wallet. This is what's in there, okay? It's 15,000 left. We have a total about 35,000 between cash. Some of them send directly cash to my account, and then the rest was sent here to the wallet. USDC, boom. One of my friend, my close friend that I onboarded, and by the way, Wells, I call those people personally. I know who they are.
Right.
Because they trust me, that's why they send the money. My friend over here, he sent me he sent me in Ethereum, because Ethereum was tanking. I swap it for USDC so it doesn't move. And this is me buying the merch that we're gonna need. I send this money to Kinetics because he has some really, really nice Hex t-shirts, flyers. We're gonna get like 100 of them. They are really, really nice. I wish I had the logo here to show you. That's why, because those things takes weeks. So we needed to send the money right away, just for that. That gets printed so we can have it for the event. They're like really, really nice shirts, like Hex with diamond hands and like that. That's the only money we spent so far. That's it. And I sent it right away because that was kind of urgent, because his guy is in Thailand, I think, or whatever, so that we can do the march here on time. That's it. This is the fucking wallet right now. People can go see at it. Talking about, oh, we get crazy money. Yeah, this is the crazy money you see right now. Everything else is self-fucking-funded, okay? So I dare those people to come and talk shit. Maybe you just mean it as a joke, and that's fine, but this garbage needs to stop. So sorry for the little rant here. I just wanted to make sure that was understood, because at some point, like we need to grow up and not be. It's okay. You don't want to help, that's fine. Just chill out. Let us do what we do. But don't come here and rain on that parade and talk this other nonsense. It's number one, it's petty. Number two, it's unnecessary. And number three, this is the thing that hurts the most. It's like, it's childish. We don't need that, bro. Like we're fighting the world. We're being gatekept left and right. We're trying to find innovative way in the fucking bear market. You know how hard it is to expand in a fucking bear market when nobody has nothing else to talk about, and we're the one that's actually remain fucking relevant. And you're gonna come and talk shit and compare us to T-Money, and I have nothing personal wrong with T-Money, but I know what that analogy symbolizes. And you're gonna put all those great people that have done so much for the community. Oh, and by the way, dollar cost help on board with me. Besides me and maybe what's his name? My boy, Toby One. Besides me or Toby One, there's not a single other Hexagon that have onboarded more Hexagon than dollar cost. That's a fact. And we onboarded 7,000 people in 4 or 5 days when Richard was in town. Richard is MK's friend. They met. They're together. That's why he went to the fight The first 20K that we went when he went to the face off. We called Richard even when he was away, when he went back. We ran this by him. He put the video on Hex News. People forget that shit was just last week. We didn't even ask Rich for money. We just say, hey, could you mind put this on Hex News? This is what we're trying to do. Those who are interested, they're going to help us out. And I reach out to Suzanne. Suzanne, hey, you have great swag. Please help us out. Da, 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 da. This is what I'm trying to do. And then we got to come and deal with this bullshit. Like, no, we don't need to do this. I come on this stream for free to give the free alpha. So please, I am begging you, let's all grow up. Like, it's the bear market. I get it. People are frustrated, but like, go find a hobby, go find something to do. If you got nothing nice to say, just don't say anything. And that's cool. Like, shit, we don't need your money. It's okay. But don't come and troll us. Like, that hurts, man. How are we going to get trolled by our own community members? That's crazy to me. Like, I get it. It wasn't my page. It was Gary, but still, that's your community member right here. The guy's putting work. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's end it on a light note. But I just wanted to kind of mention that real quick because, you know me, I'm very real. So it was on my chest. I had to say it. So, like, let's just...
Yeah, I feel you, bro.
Like, we know better. Like, Hex.com, we know better. We are the best. You know what I mean?
Thanks for the super chat, bro.
Valued Brian, appreciate you, fam, always. So...
Yeah, you know, it's always going to be bumps in the road, bro. So it's all good, man. Part of the process. People just aren't always going to see eye to eye with everything. And, a lot of people just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure I love it going to death no matter what, but this was just a bad joke, like bad timing. You know what I mean? We don't need this right now. We don't. Please.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. At the end of the day, people got to learn to discern. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, bro. You know what I mean? So everybody just keep your eyes on the prize. Don't lose focus of what the goal is, because that's what it's always about, right? And I think sometimes a lot of people like to get lost in the sauce and not really focus on what matters the most, right? And typically what matters the most is just how we're able to progress this thing that we're trying to do, right? Like, we're trying to pump X and get it in people's faces because we know how good it is, right? Like, we know that people are gonna love this. So as soon as people are able to find it, it just, everything just takes care of itself from there. So we'll just see how it goes, man.
Because listen, I've learned it too many times too easy. You can have the best product in the world. If nobody knows you, right? Thank God I said it best. They cannot flow you. They cannot, even if they've been looking for you, they don't even know they're looking for you if you don't get in front of them.
Yep.
Literally.
How's somebody gonna buy it if they don't know it exists?
Like, for just people to understand, in about 2 weeks now, my Instagram went up to 60,000 followers. That's insane. That wouldn't have happened had I not met MK. That's a fact. Now, what do you think is going to happen if you can pull this off, do a good event, connect with all those people, especially in the network here from Vegas to the network that he has even in LA, like we did with the No Jumper. And by the way, Adam 22 from No Jumper, he might come to the fight. Actually, we say, hey, can you come with the crew, free ticket, da da da. We're trying to invite him too. You know what I mean? If we go to New Jersey and we can, now that we threaten them to sue them and get that we might actually be back on to be in Atlantic City, but we'll know that in the next 48 hours. But my point is, there's a niche of people there too. The people in Miami, next week, we go back there. We're going to be on the Fresh and Fit. We're doing like back-to-back 7 to 10 podcasts. And by the way, it costs money. You have to go, you have to fly around, you have to do all this other stuff.
Yeah, it ain't free.
Like, this money raised, that was just for the fucking sponsorship. That's not for the travel, nothing, zero. It's just, it's not for the clothes, nothing. I was the one to say, hey, every big donor, hey, how can I find a way to give them value on top of that? Let's give them some good swag. So if they decide to show up to the event, hey, maybe they'll decide to wear their swag with it. You know what I mean? Like it's sad that I even have to explain it like that. You know what I mean? But it's just like, how do people not see that?
Like, you gotta understand, bro.
I'm head
a lot of people just don't know shit. A lot of people just don't know shit. You know what I mean? and they're just gonna talk from that perspective, and that's something that we gotta. Those of us that are doing, we gotta understand that. That's why I don't even comment in regards to nothing I got going on. Now, what I do is when people disrespect me and my business, I disrespect them by just ignoring them forever because they're not relevant. If you're gonna have somebody talk about my business and not question me about my business, well then fuck you. Very
Like,
simple.
that's the thing too that I don't understand. Like, you see the people who are at into the tweet, you see the names. How can you just casually go put a reply like that and put us all in the same basket? Like, how can you do something like that? I don't understand. Like, it's just, and that might just have been a joke, but you know what I mean? That's a bad joke. That's all.
Well, as they say, for that's why they made colors, right? Everybody got different tastes, so it's just the
Yeah.
way it goes, bro. Just the way.
Mel, Wells, do me a favor. And somebody asked me again from the chat. I'm gonna post their address again for those who want to donate if they want to. I'm gonna put it on the private chat so you can put it in the chat for those who
All right.
ask.
Yeah, let me get it.
Uh,
Well,
and then yeah, and then after that we can close. I just wanted to say those few words because it was important. Man, I was not be able to sleep
nah,
because I saw that this morning. I was like, how did I miss this?
man, I don't buy into it, bro. Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? At the end of the day, there's people that's building and there's people that are just watching.
yeah,
And me, I play the fucking game.
yeah.
I
And that
don't
shit got
watch.
200 likes, bro. That's why I don't
Man, that
get
shit
it.
don't fucking matter, bro. It don't
Yeah,
matter. At the
yeah,
end of the day,
yeah.
the impact of the action is what matters. That's why it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Uh, that there is gonna be something that's just gonna be passing in time, right? Because at the end of the day, and there's the address, folks.
Yeah.
Um, at
No,
the
facts.
what's up?
No, I think you're right. No, facts. Passing in time for
Right,
sure. It's
right,
just,
right.
it's just like the righteous person in me, like, yeah, passing in time, but I want to make sure the record knows that that was checked too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. And at the end of the day,
And then we
everybody's
can let
gonna
it go.
know.
Yep.
Every,
Oh, can
every
you post this the second data because I just give them with the actual ETH scan link. So that way it's
oh,
easier. Yeah, no, somebody asked, that's a good point. So post the second one too. Just put in a private chat. Is the ETH scan link.
oh, you got. Well, I'm already pulling it up, so it's fine.
Yeah, because I literally got you the whole link, so they can just literally click, and then it just brings them to the wallet.
Boom. There you go. But yeah, so it's just understanding that that's just what it is. Like people that aren't playing the game, you're not playing, bro. So
Exactly.
who cares?
Yeah, and
You know
again,
what I'm saying?
for the new guy that was asking, yeah, the money that we're raising for is for a sponsorship for celebrity boxing. My friend M to the K, big YouTuber, and 3.8 million subscriber on Instagram. He was one of the first YouTuber, like people to understand, in 2006. Okay, like it's like Satoshi Nakamoto of YouTube, like literally him
That's
and
funny.
Soldier Boy. They have one day apart when they first started to post YouTube videos, and then at the time do pranks and stuff like that. And then you can look him up, look on his social and everything like that. He's also on Twitter, M to the K. So, and the video that we have posted before, I'm literally staying at his house right now here in Vegas. So
Mm.
again, and we're doing this to increase awareness. He is a Mexican. I've onboarding him too. And if you go on my Twitter, there's a video there as well, Cuatro Cinco Club and more, and many other people on his entourage that I've met, me, DCC, because it's a great combination because a lot of them
Man,
have
they got
questions.
no choice, bro.
Exactly. And they have great questions and they have a lot of money lying around. You just onboard
Yo,
everybody.
I
And
mean, you're
some
not
people
giving
need
them
a
the
little bit
choice,
of
man. It's okay. You don't gotta be cute about it. We already know they're not gonna have a choice if you're around, and that's all right. It's
exactly.
okay.
So yeah. So and the money is for to do a sponsorship so we can put Hex over there. My goal again, if we can't get the 100K, that's fine, but my goal
Yo,
at
this
least
is
is to
a
get
this
the
is an
100.
interesting comment. So all right, well, let's go back to what's the first thing that we did that was like public? Was it the NASCAR thing? Was that like the first big public thing that we did? I think that
Mm,
was the first big public thing that we did, like collectively as a community.
If you don't count like the Hex meetup,
I don't
then
count the Hex meetup. I don't count the
okay.
Hex meetup because that's
Yeah.
not something that everybody put money on. You know, like this is something that people donated money to get
Yes.
brand awareness up
Yes.
to a certain level. You know, that's what
Yes.
I'm talking about.
Then in
So
that case, yeah.
yeah, I like to think of the NASCAR effort as the first instance in which that occurred. Right now, what's important to understand is that marketing, it's like a ripple effect, right? It's like dropping a rock in water, right? That's exactly what marketing is. You got to do the marketing and then let the marketing do the work. So
Hmm.
the impact is never immediate, never, but it's there, and you see it because over time, what you end up seeing is people talking about this thing called hex that they never had heard of before.
Hmm.
And what's funny is you see it in the staking numbers, you see it in the holder numbers, in the current holders and current staking numbers. So you see the impact on the network effect over time.
Exactly. Because it's also used as a point of recollection.
Right.
Because now you can add that as a bragging right. Oh yeah, what else you talk to somebody? Oh yeah, and by the way, we sponsor also NASCAR and da 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 da.
Yep.
Because now you can add that
To
as an arrow to your
the
quiver
resume.
when you onboard somebody, when you do all the things. How cool will it be? Oh, celebrity boxer, oh this, that, oh, we're on TV. Like Richard when he say, hey, raise $27 million to charity, biggest diamond, this, that. It's
Yeah.
something that it
Just a
never
resume.
erodes. You
It's a
can
resume
always
builder.
use that.
It's a
That's
fact.
the key.
Yeah.
And then the difference is this is that compared to the NASCAR, because we learned some valuable lessons there too, that thing was 650K.
But
Okay.
that's what it's about, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as a community, we now know how to tread water in certain aspects
Hmm.
in regards to certain elements, right? And this is a good comment about DCC. Like, yeah, $600,000 car is less than $100,000 boxing fight, right? That's going to be posted all over the internet. That could potentially go viral depending on what happens because it's a
Exactly.
celebrity box. So, you
So
know,
we're
all
connected to all the sort of, and by the way, Wells, what we're working on, which is genius, if we can get the ring set up, there might be multiple fights in the future where Hex can be there too. I'm trying to work. I'm
oh
trying to turn that
wow,
into a T-shirt. Again,
that
I'm head spearing the thing with dollar cost. We're not stupid.
right.
We this is the thing that frustrates
We like
me.
to think y'all
The
not it.
first thing we tell is like we know in the bear market, we're not stupid. We're not gonna go ask is a strong word, but you know, for Hexagon to donate money when we know when the bear market, unless it's extremely important and there's gonna be guaranteed return. Again, this is why literally we sued the guy because they thought we were stupid. They were trying to change some of the word, like, hey, you
Venue.
do this game, we're just gonna cut you off, and then we're gonna do our own thing because we're not desperate. If it doesn't make sense, you know, even MK is looking out. So it's like we're doing all this sort of thing. We looked at the cost, we looked at get everything as minimized as possible. And this is just for the sponsorship because all of the stuff and the traveling and the whatever, we're using that on our own dime. You know, I mean, some of those podcasts and whatever to get there, it's not just like, hey, kumbaya, you just show up. Like, no, like there's
Surely
multiple
it's
things that
not. You
comes
got to
around.
get there, right?
Exactly. So it's and that's what people don't understand. And I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. Ultimately, is this: if you don't want to help us, that's fine. Nobody is forcing you. You know, because like a gift or somebody want to help or whatever. I don't want this thing to be like poison in the sense where it's like somebody's helping you, and then every week to the day that they're gonna remind you how they helped you. That's not, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
It's
Oh
like
my
it's like it's like I come
God.
on
I
here,
hate people like
I
that.
give you free alpha. People literally double their money, and I do this for years for free of my time, Will's time. I don't even have a YouTube channel or whatever. And then you're gonna come at me and you're gonna say what? No, it doesn't make any sense. And again, it is totally optional. So
Yeah,
if
I mean
you
that's
don't
the
see
whole
the
thing, right?
value,
Like it's fucking optional,
then
bro.
then
Like
just
putting a
don't
gun
donate,
in
and that's fine. Nobody's blaming you. I'll love you just the same. I said it many times too. One of our community member that I love, Hex Minati, great kid. He was honestly Kareem, great idea that I don't have money, whatever. But what else can I do? Da, da, da. I got skills in X, Y, and Z. Hey, can you help us with the videos over here? Can you help us with the edit? Can you help us with propagating, posting? Da, da, da,
Simple.
da. Like it helps. My point is he's not negative. He's not, like trolling, whatever. He's doing what he can, but he see the vision. Like, that's all we ask.
Can't
Some
ask.
people are very busy, like, I'll just write you some money and that's that. And that's fine. Some people are not. And then they just want to use whatever works. Just understand it's for the community. And people lose sight of that sometimes. And then they go and then they troll. And then they wonder why we're still like in the bear market. Because it's like the bear market took their soul. They can't think straight anymore.
Oh, you funny, bro. I mean, look, man, it is what it is. You know,
Yeah,
again, I don't sweat it. You know, at the end of the day,
yeah, we're good.
uh, you know, people gonna do what people gonna do. You know, so all we can do is continue to build, continue to pump our bags as best as we know how,
Yeah, and we will.
and that's it. You know, that's all we can do. And we can't ask for more than that because at the end of the day, we're gonna be the people at the ground floor of this thing,
Yes, sir.
and you know, we're gonna be the people whether we like it or not. You know, and that's kind of the thing
It's
that,
real push. Hey, like I said, I
yeah,
sign up for this regardless. This is why I told
yeah,
people, like, hey, whether you get Hex or you don't get, we're gonna keep doing what we do. We're
yeah,
gonna keep
like
staking, keep winning, and keep
don't
onboarding
matter.
those who are willing to listen. Keyword:
Yes, sir.
willing to listen. The rest they can come later. That's why it's called early adapter, and then there's the rest. So they
Yes,
can come
and
after everybody else.
innovators, and then the rest is
Mm-hmm.
actually the right way to go about. And you know, and then that's okay. Everybody doesn't have to participate. Everybody doesn't have to do anything, and that's the beauty of decentralization. You know, uh, everybody can have their opinion about whatever they want. You know, but at the end of the day, it's important to remember there are those of us that actually play the game, and then there are those of us that just just spectators.
Exactly. And then we know
Spectators
what
don't
we
matter,
have.
bro.
We know what we have. We know what we own. That's why to us, bear
Mhm.
market doesn't scare us. We get excited because we can buy the dip, add to our position. Again, oh, shout out to my boy Bit Finesse, back here.
Or
He's right. You see, we're not gonna burn down our backs because we know what we're doing. Yep, bear market doesn't scare us. We have a product that does what we want it to do. That's it. Game over.
yo,
That's
it's
it.
crazy to
You know
me.
how easy that is when you have something that do exactly what you know is doing and what it will be doing. You know the peace of mind that you have, the confidence that you have when you go talk to like anybody, whether it is like your
Yeah, it don't
family
matter.
members, so you kind of be afraid, or whether it's like a big shot, oh my god, big money, you get the same level of confidence because you know what he does and he does what he does. That's
Yep,
it.
literally doesn't matter. How crazy is that? It's
Amen.
wild, man. You know, it's wild. So we just gonna continue to do what we're doing, right? And that's all we can do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And this is why I honestly just laugh because at the end of the day, we volunteer our time, all of us in one way or the other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Nobody
Absolutely.
has to do anything, and I think people really forget that because they really act like people have to do stuff. Nobody has to do anything. Like everybody is out here contributing however they feel like contributing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't sit here and pretend anybody has to do anything. Like I think that shit is crazy off the rip because people are
Mm-hmm.
out here acting like that. And
Mm-hmm.
yo, nobody has to do anything.
It really
Like,
is. But you see, what I love about what you said was this: the key word. Any capacity that's cool with me. But
yeah,
key word you said contributing. You
contributing is
see,
key.
and the problem when somebody's no longer contributing, what is just negative energy or whatever, that I have a problem with. Because what you say is perfectly in line with what I've been saying. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Big or small, it doesn't matter. To me, I love everybody just the same. You're a diehard Hexican. You're a Quattro Cinco member. You're a T-shirt holder. You my nigger. You my girl. You're like, hey, I see you on the street. I see you 5, 10, 15 years from now. You're struggling. You need help. You're a Hexican. I got your back because you know what this is about. Because it's not about, because some people, life is like that. Some people will always have more money than others. That's just what it is. but that doesn't mean you can underestimate their heart level. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson said best, right? Never underestimate the heart of a champion, because
Yeah.
your soul is more important, it's more pure than any other money, right? Because money, all this other stuff, it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of circumstances, and yes, skills that you build along the way. You know what I mean? But it's like this other stuff, it's like that's the key. What are you at the core? Are you here to help the mission, or are you here to hinder the mission?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That to me,
Very simple.
that's what it really comes down to.
Very
You know what I
simple.
mean? The monetary is just one way. There's other
Yeah.
ways too. You can help promote the link. Somebody else may donate. You can help promote some of the other links that we have. Dollar Cost had on this channel too. Boom. All the social, his, mine, MK social, definitely. Because on there too, there's the link to the tickets. Listen, I've had people that say, Cream, I don't have money to donate, but I bought my ticket. I want to come to the fight. And I'm gonna wear some hex gear. Good. What's wrong with that? Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah.
You
Good
know what I
enough.
mean?
Yeah. Good enough.
But
Right.
but if you want to hurt the mission, like it's like what does that do? Like how constructive is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not constructive at all, and that's why people got to understand this is decentralized. Just like you can't tell RH what to do, you can't tell nobody else what to do. And it works both ways. Everybody just got to be okay with it, and shut the f up. Like it works both ways. Everybody got to just deal with it. And
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then every now and then, if you go too far, and then because that could be like a little bit of slander, you know what I mean? So it's
hmm
like it sounds like a troll, but it's like, bro, you know better. Like what? Because if it doesn't get checked, then people look at that and oh yeah, it's the same thing. No, it's not. And again, look at the people who are attached to that tweet. Like, know who you're talking about. Like, what? No, that's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna just figure it out with time, like always, bro. It's all good. Over time, clarity is always provided to those
yeah,
that just live in the fog, and there's a lot of people that just choose to live in the fog, and nothing we
mhm,
can do for them until they decide to help themselves, because all we're doing is providing the information that's gonna help them figure it out,
yeah.
and that's all we can do. You know,
Amen.
just
Amen.
hook them
Well,
up.
one last thing, if you don't mind. There's
Go
one
ahead.
more video link that I just put on a private chat. If you can put that in the comment. That's the video that MK did, which is really good. We watched it last week on the stream. For
Ah,
any
right,
new
right, right.
person who didn't watch it, that's the link. And it's basically it's dollar cost YouTube channel. So it's a really, really cool video MK did for us to explain his journey. And then down below, there is his there's an e5 address there too. And then there is the link for those who want to buy the direct tickets. So there's a link for that too with the fighter code M to the K. Very important that they put that in. So again, they can use the ETH address or they can buy a ticket. Now, very important, those tickets are non-refundable, and those are for physical, meaning you have to physically be there in Atlantic City. So keep that in mind. But the ETH address, if you can't make it, then you can donate to that. So it's very important. And then you have MK's IG, DCIG as well. And then me, you can find me also IG. It's literally on the screen looking at you. So, but yeah, again, appreciate the love as always.
Word,
And
man.
somebody said Kareem will expose Elon.
Ah, yeah, I saw that. That was
Oh,
funny.
no, guys, I'm all love. You guys know. I just love the truth. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes it's like when something doesn't sit right with you, and you just gotta like, you know what I mean? It's like when you see somebody getting beat up down the street, and then you saw that and you don't do nothing, and it's just like, it just hits you the wrong way. Be like, because it's just wrong, so you just want to correct the wrong to a right. So that's all.
Word. But yeah, man. Thanks for jumping on the stream with me, bro. Thank you
I like
guys
this
for
quote
tuning in.
too. Somebody says money is nothing without mental health. Jacob, that's
Yeah,
for a
that's a fact.
19-year-old. You're very wise, kid. That's
Yeah,
that's really good.
that's a fact. I wish I would have known that when I was 19, because I was all jacked up. So yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
Thanks for
uh,
everybody.
yeah,
Love you
thank you to
guys in the
everybody in the
chat.
chat.
Thanks
Yeah,
for being here. Enjoy the free alpha. Sorry I had to rant a little bit, but it had to come out of the chest. You know your boy, keep it real every time.
or all
But
good, man.
again, it's all love. Still love Hexel to death, again, but this wasn't called for. That's all.
Yeah, there's always gonna be difference of opinions on how people do shit. So it is what it is, man.
Help us spread the word, and yeah, help us in any capacity you can. That's it.
That's it, man. Peace. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. That's it. That's the secret. The God well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Trust
that.
us. 100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep, everybody.